Welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show where fabrication is the name of the game. On David Mitchell's team tonight, star of the award-winning sitcom The Thick of It, who says most MPs claim to love the show. My God, MPs will claim for anything. It's Rebecca Front. And a splendid comedian who's so young that last year he won Funniest Embryo at the Edinburgh Festival, Jack Whitehall. And joining Lee Mack tonight as the hapless, clumsy star of Miranda, she recently picked up 3 comedy awards, then dropped 2, tripped over the red carpet and threw wine into the crotch of Colin Firth. It's Miranda Hart! And a man whose will-they, won't-they relationship with Margaret made The Apprentice a hotbed of sexual tension for 5 series. Nick Hewer! And we start with round 1. It's Home Truths, where our panellists each read a statement from a card in front of them, and to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they have no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to separate the facts from the fibs. Nick, you're going to be first.
When filming is over for the day, Lord Sugar and I sometimes wind down by playing ping-pong on the boardroom table.
That's a hell of a story.
True.
David, what do you think? Have a minute just to let it sink in.
You don't play on a proper table tennis table.
No.
You just play on the boardroom table.
Buy... it's underneath, actually, in the boardroom. It's rolled up,
right.
And then you unroll it and you clamp it on the boardroom table, stretched across, and you're in business.
So is it just a net, or is there also...
No, we don't have the lines.
A mat with lines? No, it's just...
The table is slightly bigger than regulation size.
Right.
Is it not also curved?
Curved?
I thought it was curved. Isn't it curved like...
You're thinking of Wolf Swimming.
It's difficult to tell watching on television, but how much room is there at the ends of the table?
Oh, plenty.
OK, I believe you.
Ample.
Because you have to be able to back off quite a way when playing table tennis properly, I happen to know.
Can we stamp on this immediately? Lord Sugar's boardroom is plenty big enough for almost everything.
And yet, you play table tennis.
Where do you keep the bats? Are they under the table during the...
Under the table.
She's left now, hasn't she?
Under the...
Not Margaret, no.
I'll tell her.
I'm not talking about Margaret.
Margaret's no bat.
Tell us how this whole thing started.
It was my idea.
You crazy fool.
It was my idea. No, but the point is that it's a fairly long, drawn-out process. It is tense. It is nerve-wracking, particularly for Karen and I, because we don't know what on earth's going on. It's only Lord Sugar who's master of all this. And I just sort of murmured to him once that I find this very difficult. And he said, well, look, don't worry. Next time I'll bring in a net and some balls and some bats. And it'll help you relax. And it grew out of that. There's nothing strange about that.
So what does Karen do? How does she relax? Because if you're playing...
She's umpire.
She's umpire?
She's got a very keen eye.
So what do you think, David?
I think this is absolute nonsense, albeit convincingly told. I think if Alan Sugar wanted to play ping-pong, he'd have a proper table tennis table and he'd play it on that. So we think it's not true. We think it's not true.
No. Think it's a lie?
Yes.
OK. Nick, truth or lie?
It's a damned lie.
Very convincingly told, though.
Yeah.
Very convincingly told.
It was a lie. Nick doesn't wind down by playing ping-pong on the boardroom table with Lord Sugar. Jack, you're next.
I was once commissioned to paint a portrait of Giles Brandreth's cat.
OK. Would you point out to some of the younger viewers who Giles Brandreth is?
Giles Brandreth presents strands of The One Show, and he was an MP, and he wears jumpers.
Here's a picture of him, OK?
How did he hear about you?
I did a lot of art around the area, not like graffiti, but...
What is this area?
Barnes.
OK.
And I've always been an artist.
What was the cat called?
That, I can't remember the name of the cat. It was a black cat.
Right.
Lucky.
Lucky.
How much do you get paid?
£130.
£130?
And also, I'm allergic to cats, so...
Danger money.
But it was like... Well, no, it was 130 quid and I was 18 at the time, so at that stage of my life, I would have worn the cat as a
How
mask.
did you paint it?
They didn't ask that.
Did the cat pose for you, or did you have
I had to
photograph?
do sittings with the cat.
Shut up!
I
Come
did.
on now.
I did.
You
Sat on
do
a
not
chair.
paint a cat and go, cat, sit on that for 3 hours. The cat moves about.
Yeah, no, and it kept moving around. It was the most annoying cat ever. Because I was like, please,
It's a cat!
sit down!
It's not gonna sit on a stool.
come on, you
Why are
can
you
do-
painting a picture of it?
You can do it.
I'll be fine for 3 hours, paint me. It's a cat!
You can totally do a sitting with a cat. Cats are very sedentary.
Yeah.
They stay in one place all the time. You can't command the cat, but you say, oh, here's a good moment. The cat seems to be sitting.
Oh,
I don't
no,
want
you were painting
Jack,
a cat,
what
you took a
position is the cat
picture.
in the painting?
Like, sort of that.
No, come on.
It wasn't a knife. It was like sort of sat like
What was
that.
that about?
That's how cats sit, like that.
What was it? Hands on their
Like,
knees?
it was a normal thing like that. You go, oh, Jack's doing a cat impression. That's a cat.
So the cat is sitting or standing? I'm trying.
Sitting. Well, oh, do you want me to do it like that? Yeah, like that. What's it like?
Anybody with half a brain would have taken a picture of the thing, gone home and painted it at home, wouldn't
I love this man.
No. I would have done that, but I didn't have that choice. She insisted that I come so that I could sort of get to know the cat.
I know Giles Brandreth.
Do you know his cat?
I know his wife. What's his wife's name?
She's called Michelle.
Is his wife
Is that
Michelle?
true?
You were bluffing, weren't you?
It is.
Do you know Giles Brandon's wife? So you were quite a good artist, were you? Reasonably good if he's paid £130.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was-
just know that. That's fine. Stay there. Draw me a cat.
Right.
I should at this point tell viewers at home that whilst we do like to receive your paintings, we can't return any of them.
The suspense is... David is captivated.
Actually, rather good.
David's face is going, this is pretty.
This is. I like to do it quite quickly, obviously.
That's fine. We're not
For
going to...
David, this is an extreme sport, isn't it?
If people have just turned over, they're going to be thinking, what on earth is David looking at? OK, Jack, reveal the cat.
So, Lee, it's time to make up your mind. What do you think about Jack's story? Is he telling the truth, or is he in fact telling us a lie?
I'm right down the middle. Because Giles, does he know you at this point? No.
He knew me through the family, through mother, and then my mum. He knew me through mother.
Jack, you're succeeding in making David look positively working class.
I barely need to be here this week.
I can't give it to him. I think it's a dreadful lie.
It's 100% true.
Oh,
Honestly.
well, you two fight it out between yourselves. I'm
No,
not
it's
getting involved.
definitely true.
I'll go with you because I like you.
Oh, touch me.
OK, they're both saying true, and I don't want to argue with the team, so I suppose I
OK,
better
you're
go
saying
with
it's true. Jack, true or lie?
It is true.
Well done, team.
Yes, it's true. And this is the most exciting part of all. We've got the painting here. Now, this has been lent to us by the Brandreths, Giles and Michelle, and this is a bit special. Get ready.
So, I'm so sorry. I'm not... Ah! Oh, my God! I'm not being cruel, right? But that looks a bit like a dog to me.
Well, here's the
That
thing.
is the most canine cat I've ever seen.
Here's the other thing. We've all also got a photo of the cat, and we're going to do a very modern split-screen effect. Look at this. Ready? Look at that! That is eerie.
I was like 17 when I did it.
Yes, it's true. Jack was commissioned to paint a portrait of Giles Brandreth's cat. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. So please welcome this week's special guest, Zazie. So, Miranda, we'll start with you. How do you know Zazie?
This is Zazie, and we once had a trial together for a professional ladies' football team, but we didn't make the grade.
There we are, Miranda's footballing friend. Lee, how do you know Zazie?
This is Zazie. I once cut off her ponytail on the school bus, thinking she was my mate Paul.
Right, Lee's short-haired schoolmate. Nick, what's your relationship with Zazie?
Zazie, my neighbour's daughter, she offered to mend my computer and inadvertently emailed to everybody in my address book a picture of my big toe.
So there we have it. Miranda's failed footballer, Lee's cropped classmate, or Nick's accidental emailer. David?
So, Miranda, what was the professional football team you tried out for?
It was for QPR Rangers. No, QPR.
QPR. So, what age were you?
About sort of early 20s.
Early 20s. So, isn't that quite old to be breaking into professional football?
You haven't seen QPR play, have you?
What position did you play?
Well, we were just sort of tipping up. And seeing.
So, just seeing...
Can you imagine if this is what she'd have done on the day?
A lot of happy memories of your footballing past, obviously.
You'd be very good at the team talk.
Yeah.
We were just hoping that they'd see us and say, oh, you're a defender.
So you...
I don't know why I'm finding this so funny.
Had you, when you turned up to try out, had you ever played football before? You just thought if football's probably not a thing that involves practice, you've either got it or you haven't. I'll wait until I'm 23. I'll turn up at QPR and they'll probably let me in the team, and there I am, sorted. That's what you thought.
We played a bit at university. I'm actually crying.
As you had played?
We played a bit at university, sort of mucked about, and we thought, hey, you know, we're quite good.
Just you and Zazie playing, or were there other people in this team?
We had some male friends who were, like, really into football, and we lived with them. And we, one day, probably, you know, trying to impress, said, we'll come and play football with you. And so
But they were thrilled.
So you went...
And they said, hey, you've got some skills in it.
OK. So, Nick, what went wrong with your computer? What was...
Running slow. Grindingly slow.
And why didn't you contact someone, you know, a proper computer person?
No,
or maybe she is
listen,
a proper
listen.
computer person who happens to be your neighbour's daughter.
Very simply, because we know them very well. I know that she did a computer course at university, and why would I go out and spend a fortune when Zazie can come in for a tenner?
And why was there a picture of your big toe on this computer?
No, one of the issues was it obviously was clogged up with stuff, and I needed it purged. And I told her that there were various folders that needed to go. My medical folder had to be deleted. A number of other folders I had to get rid of. My doctor is in London. We live in the country. I had had a very, very nasty accident. Stubbed my toe. Heavy bruising. The threat of a lost nail. And I thought that I would email it to the doctor, and he would then email back advice. Anyway, that was some time ago, and I wanted it now deleted. And, of course, she wasn't quite as good at her computing skills as I had hoped she was, or indeed that she had claimed.
You are terrifying.
No. I don't like to say this in front of her, but she had been drinking. And she pressed the email thing, and 700 people, including business contacts, serious people, were emailed a picture of this battered toe.
Including Sir Alan Sugar?
Yes.
He was the
He
first
received
to
a
get it.
picture of your toe.
He sent one back of his.
So it was actually quite a bruising experience because people didn't find it at all funny.
Lee,
Yes.
you pronounce Zazzie's name Zazie,
That's the kind of guy I am. I'm a maverick.
and you were at school with Zazie.
Well, I was, yes. And before it's pointed out, I was in a different year, yes.
OK. How much older?
I think there was about 4 years difference.
Right.
But you cut off Zazie's
Can I just
ponytail.
point out, we weren't actually at the same school. I should get that in, really. We were on we call it the school bus. It wasn't a school bus that was only for school children. It was the bus I got to school.
So you went... You
It was a public bus, and she was a child who didn't know on the bus.
Starts to sound like a court case, David. Can you back off?
And you attacked her head with a sharp
I didn't
object.
attack her. I did not attack a child.
But you mistook a child's head for the head of one of your friends.
Yeah, I was about 15. She was, I don't know what she was, but she looked
3.
She looked like...
Why did you want to cut off Paul's ponytail?
Well, Paul's ponytail I've always found a little bit annoying. I mean, let's face it, have you ever seen a ponytail on a man and not wanted to cut it off?
It's still a bit of a step to actually have a go, isn't it? Because after all, it's up to people how they have their hair. It's not up to you, is it?
Trust me, David, if it was up to me, you wouldn't be having your hair like that.
Yeah. Likewise.
Thank you.
Was Paul somewhere else on the bus?
Yes, Paul was sat next to me and he went, hey, go over there and cut my hair off. And I felt, why don't you go? It's quite... All right, Paul, stay there, I'll do it now.
So
I was a gullible fool.
This is an environment which you don't know Paul's on the bus at all.
No.
Paul, I
You
don't
just see the back of a little girl and go, there's Paul! Where are my scissors? I thought you might know Paul was somewhere on the bus, and then you see the ponytail, and you've only got a moment, quick snip. You don't even know Paul's there. You're just seeing ponytails and snipping away, despite the fact that Paul is apparently wearing a little dress.
So David, what are you thinking here?
I'm slightly inclined to believe Lee. What do you think about Miranda's story about the football trial? That very much came to life, didn't it?
She certainly seemed to know a lot about football,
Yeah.
so I was impressed with that. I think it might be Nick and his suppurating toe.
Emailing of the toe. And what about you, Jack?
I reckon it's Nick.
And what about you, David?
Well, I don't know. I'm stuck.
Okay.
But my two teammates agree, so I'm happy to go along with that.
You're saying that it's Nick. And it's the toe, and it's the email.
Yeah.
Zazzie, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Zazzie, and Miranda and I once tried out for a professional football team.
Yes, Zazzie did try out for a ladies' professional football team with Miranda. Thank you very much, Zazzie. Time now for some high-speed lying in our final round, Quickfire Lies. And we'll start with David Mitchell.
I killed a rat with my BAFTA.
I really hope that's true. I want that to be
Brilliant if
true.
it is true.
You got a BAFTA?
Where was the rat?
The rat was in some bin bags that were sort of outside, on sort of round the corner from my kitchen.
Can I ask a question? Is this the BAFTA you won when one of the other nominees was me?
I don't want to make you feel small, Rob, but it was the other one.
How did you kill it?
I didn't mean to kill it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You didn't mean to kill it.
Just meant to award it with the BAFTA.
No. Yes, I run into the flat.
Yeah.
I grab the BAFTA.
Where is the BAFTA? The flat?
It's on a bookshelf.
Right. On display?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's
Big
got
head.
lights round it. It's in what I call my me room. I then go outside with the BAFTA. I hold the BAFTA at arm's length, sort of over where the bin bags were, and I drop it.
And you
then
get
scuttle around the corner.
Do you drop it with the idea of just shoo? That sort of...
Sort of shoo, but maybe I'm entertaining the possibility of injuring it, and I don't like that side of myself.
And by absolute coincidence, it's landed right down on the rat.
Bang.
Wow.
And then there's silence.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Now, that's where you're wrong.
Right.
Why?
You get a squeal.
Just a little, I'd like to thank my family, and then it would die.
I know about rats.
So have you killed the rat?
Yeah, my dogs kill rats.
And did it squeal?
Squeal like hell.
Well, dogs are much crueler than BAFTAs.
True or lie?
Ooh, I'm really torn on this one. What do you think, Nick?
No, you attack a rat from a distance. You do not go hunting into your me room looking for something heavy.
You think it's a lie? You're not sure?
I'm utterly confused.
Well, then I'm going to go.
Again.
I'm going to go for lie, but there's a bit of me that just thinks it could be true.
Yeah, I
I'll say
know.
lie. I'll say lie.
Tricky one.
Saying lie?
Yeah.
David, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. David didn't kill a rat with his BAFTA. You mustn't get obsessed by meaningless awards, as I was telling my children. Oscar, Emmy and Brit only yesterday. Next. That's me. This is the sweatshirt that my wife and I put on together when we are cozying up on a chilly evening. We call it the cuddle jumper.
For the full demonstration with Nick, would that be okay?
Can we see a model?
Can you model with Rob the cuddle jumper?
Prefer not to.
Well, yeah. We all prefer not to. That's why I got in quick. Because I know where it was headed. Yeah, you can cuddle up with him and you can...
I have to get in there.
Come on, Nick. I know you've not done it before. Think of yourself as a bit of an apprentice with this. There we go. Stick your...
How do we...
So you have to get your arm down. That's better.
Quite nice, actually.
All right.
Nice.
You can just sit in my lap then, Nick. Right. Ask. Who wants to ask first? Both teams.
Nick, how does it feel?
Yeah, that's my phone, by the way.
Hard to describe accurately.
Vicar, will you help me and turn this way? Because I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. Our television room is very drafty. So, what are you doing? Whoa, go back. It's very drafty. And we saw this on a shopping channel, and we ordered it for a laugh. And it's actually, I mean, you'd have to admit, it's very cosy.
He looks like a ventriloquist dummy now.
I'll tell you what, Orville's let himself go, hasn't he?
So we ordered it, and we don't wear it every night, but we do wear it sometimes.
Is this the position you'll be in, where your wife will be...
No, because we have more than one chair in our television room. So we sit on the sofa
Be
side by
better on
side.
the sofa, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we haven't got a sofa.
Well, that's a good question. You have more than one chair. Have you got more than one jumper?
It's a cuddle jumper.
Well, why wear jumpers and cuddle up?
Why did you get it in orange?
We wanted that Guantanamo feel, you know?
Do they have pants, too?
No.
You could have pants, couldn't you? 3 legs.
Are you suggesting that you lose the pants? Does the design lend itself to intimacy?
Yes.
Not tonight, it doesn't.
Time for a guess. What are you going to say, Lee?
Miranda.
I just really
I want to get in your jumper now.
Rebecca, this does put some pressure on you.
It's either mine or David's trousers.
So what do you think, Lee?
I don't want to rush it, I'm really cosy.
So what are you saying, truth or lie?
We think it's a try.
It's a try.
Hang on, we have to consult our other team member. Come over here. Do we think it's true or a lie?
I don't know what the question is.
The question is, does he cuddle up to his wife with
in
this
this
jumper?
No.
No. Nick,
He's got strong thighs, this boy.
And you've got a very bony bum. David, what about you and Rebecca and Jack? What do you think?
I think it might be true.
I think it's true.
In a bizarre, perverse
Quick as you
other
like.
universe.
We'll go for true.
You're saying true, and what are you saying?
Oh, I forgot. Let's go back and ask Nick. We said it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Well, I can tell you, it's actually a lie.
Now what do we do?
It's great. It's great. There's room for 3.
Yes, thank goodness it's a lie. It isn't the sweatshirt that my wife and I put on together when we're cozying up on a chilly evening. And that noise signals time is up, and it's the end of the show. And I can reveal that David's team have 3 points, but Lee has won with 5. But it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week is Nick Hewer. Yes, Nick Hewer, who hasn't deceived the public so much since he had a picture taken with Lord Sugar and they both looked the same height. Good night. Good evening, and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show all about amazing truths and big fat lies. On David Mitchell's team tonight, a man who has broadcasting in his blood, along with Synatogen, cod liver oil and Viagra. It's Sir Jerry Wogan! And David Mitchell's writing partner, acting partner and friend, his confidant, his soulmate, his lover. It's Robert Webb! And joining Lee Mack this week, we have a 24-year-old who's one of the youngest comedians in England and one of the oldest men in Scotland. It's Kevin Bridges! And an actress whose credits include Torchwood, where she had to confront all manner of hideous creatures, and Not Going Out, where she had to confront Lee. It's Katie Wicks! So we start with round 1, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them, and to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've got no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the truth from the tosh. And Terry is first up. So, Terry, would you reveal all, please?
I deliberately set fire to my colleague's script whilst they were live on air.
Lee?
Was this a Did you say colleagues, as in, has it happened a lot? Or the script belonging to one colleague?
I used to do it on a regular basis.
Listen, enough of your sex life, Terry.
You flatter me.
Is there footage of this if it was live?
It's sex life, I hope not.
No, there's no footage. It was in Ireland on Irish radio, and it was just a little prank of mine while my colleagues were reading the news or announcements, I would sneak in behind them and set fire to the script from the bottom.
So they would be holding these scripts in their hand?
As it disappeared in front of them.
And this is the news?
Often the news, and sometimes a Beethoven concert. I was indiscriminate.
Would you use matches? Because you'd hear the sound, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course, but I struck the matches before I came into the studio. I'm a swift mover.
Well,
safety matches.
You can't move too swiftly with a match because it goes out.
Look, that's what your jacket is for. You keep it in there, sneak in, they don't see you, you smile. Go around the back.
How did your victims react, Terry?
I was the senior man, and I took no nonsense. If they didn't like it, too bad.
Hang on, Terry, sorry. What year was this?
Just after the Napoleonic Wars. No, I was about 21.
Would the listeners ever get wind of the blaze?
No, because there's no chance of any scent on the radio.
But what, all right, OK, all right.
So we think... What do we think, Kevin?
I think it would be common knowledge.
OK. Kevin thinks it's a lie.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'd already know about this.
OK.
I think it's a lie.
We'll go for lie.
You're saying that it's a lie. Terry Wogan, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie? Yes, it's true. Terry did deliberately set fire to his colleague's script whilst they were live on air. At least they can laugh about it now. They can't move their hands, but they can laugh.
It was a prank.
Kevin, you're next.
I once found a suitcase and took it to the police station. When they opened it, it contained 34 bunches of bananas.
David.
Where did you find the suitcase?
In a train station.
Well, there are lots of...
Do you want a specific train station?
Well, no, I'm just sort of thinking that you're in a train station, you see a suitcase, you think, I must take that to the police. That's potentially a bad approach.
No, I was just lying, and I'd said to a couple of people, is that your suitcase? And it was in the climate of fear, and I started to think, well, maybe I should be a good citizen. So I took the suitcase over, and I headed straight to a British Transport police guy, and told him what had happened.
So you moved the suitcase you thought might be a bomb?
Did you also give it a good rattle?
It wasn't so much I thought it was a bomb, I just thought maybe somebody had left their suitcase.
Well, that wouldn't be a response to the climate of fear, though. That would have been a response to a climate of forgetfulness.
I panicked.
Who opened the suitcase to divulge all those bananas?
I came in, and the British Transport police guy took it into his office, and then they scanned it with some... whatever they scan it with, some...
Those things...
Like a Waitrose.
How much are bananas? How much are bananas?
At the heart of this is, why would anybody put 34 bunches of bananas into a suitcase?
That's exactly what the Chief Terror Inspector said. He was baffled, that's why.
Did they ever find this guy?
I never kept up to date. I don't have a clue. I just left it.
You haven't kept in touch?
No.
Well, he's here tonight.
I'm the king of the swingers!
What I doubt here is that if you've taken a piece of unattended luggage to the police, I don't think they're going to then immediately open it.
Oh, it was no longer unattended when I got to the police, because
but you're saying... But that's not going to reassure them, because you're saying, I've no idea whether or not this has got a bomb in it. So...
I never used those words. You don't use the word bomb in this situation. That just...
You do a mime.
I'm worried this might be a...
What? And then he opened it when?
Right, we need a decision. Truth or lie?
Well, you think it's a lie?
I do, really.
Yeah, I think it's a lie.
Well, we'll say it's a lie.
You're going to say it's a lie. OK, Kevin, were you telling the truth?
It's a lie.
Yes, it was a very big lie. Kevin didn't take a suitcase containing 34 bunches of bananas to a police station. Next up, Robert Webb.
As a child, I had so many imaginary friends, we formed an imaginary gang.
Did the gang have a name?
Yes, the gang were called the Guy Buys.
The what? The Guy Buys?
They were called the Guy Buys.
How are you spelling that?
I never had cause to spell it. I'm talking about, you know...
If you had to spell it now, how would you spell it?
G-Y hyphen... by... B-I-E-S.
How many were in the gang?
There was quite a few. There were 12.
The same number as apostles.
Well, it does occur to me that this was a harmless little messiah complex.
Right. So did you appoint yourself head of the imaginary?
Yeah, I was basically Jesus.
Do you still keep in touch with the rest of the gang?
They were imaginary friends, so they sort of disappeared as soon as I stopped thinking about them.
What, did you have names for the Guy Buys?
I think I borrowed names from people I knew at school and my brother. They were like Mark and Andrew and all the apostles.
Oh,
they were, and Chris.
Judas?
Chris isn't...
Chris, and obviously Judas Iscariot.
Yes.
Did you have a favourite Guy Buy?
Chris was good.
Did you have a rival gang, the Guy Buys? Was there a feud or anything like that?
Well, there was always our main enemy was the Joker, which I think I borrowed from Batman.
What would he do, the Joker?
Oh, just, you know, rob banks and stuff, and we would, we'd chase him on our bike.
Old trouble, 13.
They were very good at getting on the back of the bike.
You were like a Red Cross display team, weren't you?
They were. I sort of imagined them sort of diagonally stacked.
Did you all sleep in one bed?
Oh, they weren't really... I mean... This is pretty... As much as I encourage the Guy Buys... No, they were very much a pre-sexual phenomenon.
Have we established yet why they were actually called the Guy Buys?
No, it's just the sort of sound that children make. Well, that this child made.
Well, see, the thing is, Guy Buys sounds like baby talk. You know, it might be like just some words that you formulated, but you also were aware of Marvel comic enemies at that age.
Batman wasn't a Marvel character.
Batman wasn't Marvel?
No, Marvel's Spider-Man, Captain America, the Hulk. Superman was Action Comics.
I hate him when he does that Stephen Fry thing, don't you? All that knowledge.
All that knowledge. An answer is what we need, so... Go now.
Just a minute. Are you doing me again?
I'm flirting round the edges of you, Terry. If you're not careful, I'll set fire to you. Right. Right, what are you going to say, then? What are you, truth or lie?
Sounds plausible. Young guy, read a few comics, read the Bible, merged the two in his head and formed the Guy Buys.
Wow. It's like having Inspector Frost in the studio with us. What about you, Katie? Which way are you leaning?
Well, I think he clearly has a wonderful imagination. That's clear. So I think, yes, it's true.
OK. I will say it's true.
You're going to say true? OK. Robert Webb, truth or lie?
It is a true thing.
Well done, Terry.
Yes, it was all true. When Robert was a child, he did form an imaginary gang from his many imaginary friends. You know, it may seem odd, but loads of people have tons of imaginary friends. It's called being on Facebook. So at the end of that round, David's team have 3 points and Lee's team have 2. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Tony. Right, Kevin, we'll start with you. What is your relationship with Tony?
This is my mate, Tony. We were once questioned by the police for stealing a life-size cardboard cutout of Hugh Grant.
Katie, how do you know Tony?
This is Tony, and he freed me from a vending machine when I got my foot stuck in the push compartment.
Finally, Lee, how do you know Tony?
This is Tony, and until today, I had never met this man before, but the person that was supposed to be doing this tonight didn't turn up. So I grabbed the first person I saw outside the studio.
So there we have it. Kevin's partner in crime, Katie's snack machine saviour, or Lee's stand-in man. Right, David, off you go.
Well, Lee's one is quite difficult to cross-examine, isn't it? So essentially what Lee's saying is, here's Tony, he's a random bloke. But who was supposed to come, Lee?
Well, had it gone to plan today, I would have said, this is Graham, and he's my self-defence instructor, because I'm learning self-defence.
Right. What happened to Graham? Did he get beaten up?
The story I am told is that he hurt his arm this morning during a self-defence class, and then very late in the day, he got in the car to come here and had some turn because of the painkillers he was on and cancelled and said, I can't come.
Well, it's a sad old story.
Yeah. So what was Tony doing here before you found him?
He's a joiner, which is somebody that puts wood together.
Thank you.
I didn't want you thinking he was somebody that just randomly joined clubs.
He's just a very sociable guy.
I'm a joiner. Where are you going? I'm going to join a club.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
The guy-bys? Yeah, OK.
Where were you in the complex?
Well, I'm not sure how good this is for national television, but I'll tell you, David. I was just outside that door where some people go out for a cigarette. I think you're aware of that door, David.
I'm aware of the door.
I'm sorry if David's parents are watching to break the news like this. But David occasionally does that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking cigarettes either.
No. To me, it will always be the heroin door.
What sort of incentive did you offer this good man to come here and make a complete numpty of himself?
Well, answer the man, Rob.
The rejected chuckle brother has got the better of me again.
OK, well, I mean, I must say, Lee's story is incredibly plausible.
It's incredibly tedious.
Yes, I mean, that's why it rings so true.
Kevin, your partner in crime, what did this man do with you?
I think crime's a strong word, Terry, from a man who has got arson in his past. We were questioned by the police, not charged, just questioned for stealing a life-size cardboard cutout of Hugh Grant.
What were you going to do with Hugh Grant?
We'd went to Blockbuster Video, and nothing really caught our eye, except the life-size cardboard cutout of Hugh Grant.
What? Sorry, I didn't understand a word of that.
We went to Blockbuster Video, OK?
And nothing caught our eye, Terry.
Finally, he's talking normal.
Exactly.
It shows to every Scottish person if you just made a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
I saw the scene of life-size cut Hugh Grant on the way out. It was threatening to be a pretty dull evening until we seen this, and we thought we'll steal this and have a laugh on the way back home. And we were walking home, a police car pulled up and said, "Where are you going with Hugh Grant, lads?" The police guy could not see the funny side at all and decided to put him in the passenger seat, put us two in the back and drive. And drive us to the police station to be questioned.
We haven't touched on Katie yet.
No, we haven't.
Yes, you've been told about that, Terry.
answers.
We told you quite clearly before we started.
Yeah. Where was the vending machine?
It was at Cardiff Central train station.
What did the vending machine vend?
What is this thing you call love, human?
What does it vend? It vended the normal stuff, drinks, chocolate bars.
What were you doing with your foot in the vending machine?
Well, I put the money in.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get a drink, and I could see that it had come out a bit, but not properly.
Yeah.
And after trying to get out with my hands, I tried my foot.
And it got stuck.
Yes.
But was it a little hole or a big slot?
It was like a tray thing.
And how did this fine man help you?
He was working at the train station,
Yeah.
and he's clocked it and came along and said, "Do you want a hand?"
And you said, we must keep in touch? Can I have your email address?
We didn't stay in touch, but I knew how to find him.
How did you
Because
find
he's
him?
still working at Cardiff train station, Cardiff Central.
But what I don't understand, right? The
Go
thing's
on.
fallen down.
Yes.
And you're having difficulty getting it out with your hand. Now,
Correct.
hands are basically better than feet.
Yes.
That sort of thing. I wonder why you sort of
that.
think, if the hand can't do it, why is the foot going to develop the knack?
No, my logic was, I tried with the hands, and I thought sort of a kick, brute force,
Ah.
you know, might work instead. That was the logic.
Was it the sort of door? You know, because often the slot at the bottom has got a sort of door, hasn't
Yes,
it?
it had a
I
door.
offered slot and she called it a tray.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a tray, is it?
It's not a tray.
A tray would be removable.
This is like good cop, guy by cop.
How did he release the foot? What exactly did he do?
He had a key to open the front bit.
So you just went back and whoa!
Well, what do you think is the most plausible story then, Terry? Do you think it's...
I think, and once again, I may be putting my faith, as indeed I have throughout my life, in a woman.
So you believe Katie?
He looks Welsh.
I think Lee or Kevin. I'm having some
Guys, I
difficulty.
need some consensus.
I'm having trouble picturing the foot lodged in the tray.
So if you're saying you're going towards Lee, you have to then accept that he is having self-defence lessons.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because if, you know...
Why are you getting self-defence lessons?
Well, because my wife decided to take self-defence lessons, and she asked me to come with her. We have private lessons, and he comes round to the house.
Okay, I wasn't expecting it. It was on the NHS.
I've thrown money at the problem.
What are you going to say then, chaps? Is Tony Kevin's Hugh Grant thief? Gosh, crikey, gosh. Katie's vending machine hero or Lee's last resort?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, dear.
I think maybe Kevin. Kevin. I think I'll go for Kevin.
And you think it's Katie? I don't know. So I'm going to say we think it's Katie.
OK. Tony, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Tony, and me and Kevin did steal a life-size Hugh Grant cutout.
Were there any charges?
No, it was a caution.
And you're proud of it, aren't you? I can see there's a real pride in your face. You feel you should have a Duke of Edinburgh award, don't you? Thank you very much, Tony. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies. We will start with... it's David Mitchell.
When I was 12, I saved up all my pocket money and bought a rowing boat that I never used.
Lee.
Right. How much was the boat?
I think it was about £120.
Oh, how much did you make pocket money a week?
Oh, £2 grand, something like that. No, I can't remember, but I think it would be something like £1.
Whoa. You earned £1 a week, pocket money?
Yeah.
The boat was £120?
Yeah. You know, I had the occasional windfall.
Christmas.
What's the windfall?
Christmas and
Oh, I see.
birthdays.
Christmas and birthdays.
Lottery.
Christmas and birthdays, and the other festival only our family did.
Where were you planning to go in this boat?
I planned to sort of row around in it when on holiday.
And how did you propose to get it on holiday? You had your eye on a nice Ford Fiesta with a tow bar.
No. At that age, I would often holiday with my parents.
Who should I holiday with this year?
Yeah.
Parents! Come here.
It seemed to go tremendously well before.
Parents, I've got a proposal for you.
And what stopped the plan?
Basically, the boat was a bit too big.
A bit too big for what? The sea? Every time I pushed it into the water, it kept hitting France.
For easy.
Can't get it into the... Try it sideways, David! Where did you keep it?
It was, I think, in our front garden.
You think?
Yeah.
Did you ever sit in the boat in the front garden, pretending, with a knotted hanky?
So, which way are you going to go with it? Truth or lie?
What do we think, Katie?
I sort of, yeah, I think it's true.
I'm going to go for a... lie.
I would say that it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. OK. David, truth or lie?
It is true.
Yes, it's true. When David was 12, he did spend all his pocket money on a rowing boat that he never used. Interestingly, David is one of the few people to own a boat they can never use who hasn't been a contestant on Bullseye. Next. It's Lee.
After an incident with a permanent marker, I had to go to my son's parents' evening with a moustache and glasses drawn on my face.
David's team, do you believe that?
OK. Who drew this on your face, or did you do it to yourself?
Yes. I did it to myself. I was on the way to my son's parents' evening and thinking, I haven't got a tie. Oh, I know, I'll pretend I'm somebody else instead.
All right, what happened?
I was asleep one afternoon. My wife thought it would be funny if my son drew the thing on the face. So she said, go and get one of your felts, because the felts are, you know, the washable ones. He started drawing on my face. I woke up, I laughed a bit, I let him carry on, and then we looked at the pen, realised it was permanent marker. And when I went to wash it off, it came off a bit, but not enough. And we were late, so we just had to go.
Can't you try, I don't know, white spirit or something? Doesn't that work?
I could have tried a blowtorch as well.
No. I mean, silly bang.
What sort of moustache was it? Was it a sort of twirly one? Or just a sort of more Hitler-type thing, or...?
Couldn't go into your son's school with a Hitler.
Well...
Could you?
Well, you definitely couldn't, David.
Yeah.
That would be wrong.
So, David, which way?
Well, I think... You think it's a lie?
Yeah.
You think it's a lie? We're going to say it's
You're
a lie.
going to say it's a lie. OK, Lee, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. Lee didn't go to his son's parents' evening with a moustache and glasses drawn on his face. Next. Terry.
Every year, I signal the start of Christmas dinner by taking my seat opposite Mrs. Wogan and firing a pistol loaded with a blank or blanks.
Marvellous.
Lee, what do you think?
Oh, well, I've always wanted to say this. It's like a dream come true. Is it the current Mrs. Wogan?
Yes, the poor soul.
You ever set fire to her?
In ways that I will not divulge.
OK, so then where'd you get this pistol from?
I have a gun licence.
I didn't ask you that. You can answer whatever questions you like, Sir Terry.
And I wouldn't be afraid to use it. These are blanks. It's a simple tradition.
How did it start, the tradition?
Well, years ago. My father did it before me.
Why did he do it?
Until the accident.
No, things, you know, develop in families, little traditions. The fun starts in the Wogan household with a pistol shot. It's a bit frightening at first for the grandchildren, but they get over it.
So
and they know that it's the beginning of the great festival, that Grandad has fired his pistol. Time to get the bird out.
Right, Lee.
Kevin, what do we think?
I think it's a lie.
Kevin's saying a lie.
Kevin's
Katie,
a lie.
what are you
Katie?
saying?
It just seems a very dangerous thing to do with your family around. I think it's a lie.
You say lie?
I say it's a
you
lie.
say it's a lie. Terry, is it true or is it a lie? Yes, it's a lie. Terry does not signal the start of Christmas dinner by firing a pistol loaded with a blank or blanks. Although Terry does have a strict Christmas dinner routine. He asks Mrs. Wogan if she wants stuffing, and then 2 hours later they enjoy a cold lunch. Oh, well, that noise signals time's up, and it's the end of the show. And I can reveal that in an exciting finish, David's team have won by 6 points to 3. But, of course, it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is Sir Terry Wogan.
Thank you.
Yes, Sir Terry Wogan, who's such an unscrupulous liar, he makes Eurovision voting look above board. Good night. Good evening, and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show where for a full half hour it's fine to fib. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a breakfast TV presenter who appeared on Strictly and suffered a serious ankle injury. Although, in my view, not serious enough. It's Bill Turnbull! And I'm not saying he's camp, but if Glee did a Mamma Mia special starring poodles wearing spandex, I imagine he'd watch it in leg warmers. From Pineapple Dance Studios, Louis Spence! And joining David Mitchell tonight, an Irish comedian who came to England to find his fortune, or failing that, any loose change, it's David O'Doherty. In Doc Martin, she played a doctor's receptionist who was rude and stupid. Or to put it another way, she played a doctor's receptionist. Star of The Old Guys and the IT Crowd is Catherine Parkinson. Right, we will begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to separate the truth from the lies. Catherine, you are first tonight. Would you reveal all?
I was so sure that Wombles were real, I used one as an example of a mammal in a GCSE biology exam.
How could it be true, Lee?
But which one did you draw? What did he look like?
I didn't draw anything that wasn't in the question.
Okay,
The
you took it in
question
the
was
end.
give an example of a mammal.
Oh, you used it, just wrote it down.
It was give 3 examples of mammals, and I said bear, because that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Whale, bit less obvious, clever. And Womble was my 3rd example.
How old were you at the time?
15.
What are you looking at David for?
Let's remind ourselves what the Wombles looked like. We've got Uncle Bulgaria. Yeah. There he is. He was like the Don Corleone of the Womble family.
What grade did you get then?
A.
You got A's, even though you think Womble's a mammal.
I should make clear that I didn't think the children's programme was a documentary. I thought the children's programme, that Womble, was based on a real mammal.
For example, a bear is a real mammal, but Yogi Bear isn't a fair representation of real life.
You're telling me for a GCSE at age 15, the question was, give 3 examples of a mammal?
Look, Lee, this isn't the end of a game show. It's not like, and this one's for the GCSE. There were lots of questions.
But surely the question in a GCSE at 15 wouldn't be, give us an example of 3 mammals. It's a bit of a basic question.
Why do you think that is so easy?
Well, it's quite...
You are such an intellectual snob.
That's my role on the show.
I'm sorry, you could have said cat, dog.
That's what...
Any number
Are you
of
stuck for the third one? Well, I know what you're saying. You could say that you knew that they were fictional, but based on a real animal called the Womble.
I thought that maybe it was based on the fact that in real life they made their burrows from, like, condoms and coke.
In reality, of course, most creatures perish because of litter, things that the everyday folk leave behind. So in a way, the Wombles did a lot of bad.
Are you saying that the Wombles message
didn't
encouraged
exist.
people to litter?
Yes.
People sort of said, well, maybe I was going to throw this away properly, but maybe the Wombles can make an extension out of it.
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, people do dress dogs up like that these days, and so you couldn't be sure whether they're possibly just trained Wombles.
Yeah. But these, in the story, the Wombles were... That wasn't just poor old bewildered Womble, but someone's put some glasses on him. He's put his own glasses. He's gone to the Womble optician and said, could you fashion me some reading glasses out of some stuff that everyday folk have left around? And they've done that.
Right. That's actually not true. He found the glasses. He found the clothes.
He found glasses of exactly the right prescription.
No.
Possibly on...
There was no evidence that it was the right prescription.
There was an episode, wasn't there, where an old man had died on Wimbledon Common. Immediately the Wombles are on him. Taking everything. His medals, his gold watch, his glasses, his shoes, and there he is naked. This old man, no dignity if the Wombles are around. It's a brilliant programme.
What do we think, Bill?
I think it would be an insult to Catherine's intelligence to believe that she wrote that down in an exam. I don't believe it.
You don't? You see, Go on, what do you think, Lee?
No, I don't believe it.
Why?
No. Because I don't. Because I think that she seems better educated than that. I mean, I got kicked out of school at 15 and...
Why?
Because I wasn't very educated and I didn't really know anything. I couldn't spell or read. I was doing high kicks and backflips all the time. They got bored of me.
What did you do when you were expelled? Did you just run out into the street singing and dancing and going, I don't need this?
Yeah. I don't need this. I don't want this. I can spell. I can do up. Head roll. Boom, boom.
I would say that in the history of this programme, we have never had two such opposing... That's Bill and Luke.
Well, there we are. It's time, Lee, to make a decision. Which way are you going to go, Lee?
OK, I'll go with my team and say that it's not true, even though my gut is screaming it's true. I will go with my team and say it's a lie.
OK. Catherine, is it a lie or is it true?
It is, in fact, true.
Yes, it's true. Catherine did use a Womble as an example of a mammal in her GCSE biology exams. Right, David O'Doherty, you're next.
I am currently seeing a hypnotist to cure me of my compulsion to visit hypnotists.
I don't think this is going to take too long. How long have you had a compulsion to see hypnotists?
Well, it started off, I had a fear of heights, and I visited a lot of different practitioners. It is a serious enough thing. I mean, it's unusual to be this high. And, yeah, I tried hypnosis, and then I seemed to be getting something temporary from it, so then I ended up visiting a lot more hypnotists.
What were you getting temporary from it?
I was getting some relief from it for a while.
From your fear of heights?
Yeah.
So you're now relieved of that at this point. Why would you go back?
Oh, because then the relief is temporary, so I ended up going back, and then I ended up getting really addicted to visiting different hypnotists.
What do they do?
Normally they just put me under for a minute.
Put under
then
what? Water?
They make me... It's serious. They make me lie on the ground.
So they make you lie on the ground? How's that going to cure your fear of heights? Surely they should make you lie on top of the cupboard.
Well, I am knocked out during this, and then when I wake up, they put me on top of something high.
Oh, all right. So how many different hypnotists have you seen?
I don't know. It's into the hundreds at this point.
Hundreds of hypnotists?
It was costing... Most of my income was going on it. I mean, I would do... Whatever money I could get was just going straight into hypnosis then.
How long have you been seeing the one you've been seeing now for to get you off being seeing the hypnotist?
Well, This one about 2 years now. I mean,
So the man you've been seeing for the last 2 years has been specifically for the problem that you want to stop seeing hypnotists. Not for the height thing anymore. Just, I'm addicted to hypnotists. I need to stop. That's what you're seeing him for.
Yeah.
And you've been seeing him for 2 years.
we're nearly out of the woods.
Do they ever touch you in any way?
Generally, the sort of severe vertigo hypnosis I get doesn't involve physical contact, but it does involve being winched up.
Winched up?
Well, winched up to get the height, so then when you come around, you're at a height and you think this is normal.
When he puts you under...
Well, this is going back when I had the serious problem.
Well, let's go back to that problem. That interests me, the winching up. So they put you out and then you're gone. Do you remember being... Do you wake up and go...
No, you're gone. You put on a sort of Velcro suit at the start, and then...
Are you aware of what they're saying?
No, it's like I'm gone, and then it's come down from up there on top of the cupboard.
So they winch you up, and then winch you down onto the cupboard.
No, I can get down because I've been hypnotised.
So, but you've been winched up to go on top of the cupboard
while I'm under.
Yeah. So he winches you up, and slightly nudges you over the cupboard, and winches you down again. Why does he have to put you on the cupboard? Why does he just winch you up and keep you winched? What's the advantage of being on a cupboard over being winched up? Have you got a fear of being up high on cupboards? What's the name of the hypnotist you're seeing?
Dr. Spanks.
Never before. You're doing really well. I don't think I've ever seen it. You know when you start a sentence and you don't know how it's going to end? It's never happened before with just 2 words, doctor and Spanks.
He's German.
Oh no. It's German, yeah?
German.
It's very emotional.
What do you think, Lee? It's a tricky one.
Well, it's a tough one.
I'm going with you on this one.
What do you think?
Even if I believed everything else, I've never met anybody German called Spanks.
It's S-P-E umlaut. G-H-N-K-S.
You've just ruined it.
Oh, is that what ruined it?
Because there is never an umlaut on an E.
There's never a man being velcroed and winched up on the cupboard. That's the bit you ought to be focusing on. Not the spelling of his surname.
Right. So, Lee.
I say it's a lie then.
He's saying it's a lie. David O'Doherty, was that fantastic tale the truth, or was it a lie?
Incredible as it seems, that is a lie.
Yes, unsurprisingly, it's a lie. David isn't seeing a hypnotist to cure him of a compulsion to visit hypnotists. I went to see a hypnotist once. All the time he was saying, look into my eyes. Sorry, not hypnotist, optician. And at the end of that round, the scores are tied. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest. It's Mark. Right, we'll start with you, David O'Doherty. What is Mark to you?
Well, this is Mark, and together we started a lost animals detective agency.
So there we have it. David's animal detective. What about you, Catherine? What's your connection to Mark?
This is Mark. He is my recycling man, and last year he put a note through my door saying he thought we were eating too many takeaways.
All right, Catherine's healthy eating recycling man. David Mitchell, your relationship with Mark?
This is Mark. He saved me from choking in Argos after
David, you haven't even heard of Argos.
He saved me from choking in Argos after I swallowed one of their little pens.
There we have
I
it.
would like to know precisely what is implausible about that.
So there we have it. David O'Doherty's private eye for pets, Catherine's judgmental bin man, or David's high street hero. Lee's team, where to begin?
Well, let's start with Catherine. How many takeaways were you eating?
Chinese, Thai, and pizzas.
Yeah, that's the first night. What about the second night?
Indians. I wasn't having takeaways every night. This is why I personally think it was a very rude thing to do. I mean, apart from the fact that it's none of this man's business, who I don't know. He's basically my staff.
Yeah.
So, you know,
How often does your staff turn up to take away the refuse?
God, I don't. My husband deals with all the rubbish and stuff.
I don't quite know what that means. I mean, he doesn't deal with booking them, does he? They just come every week. Or every
What's the rubbish out, Lee?
You still might know how often they come.
I accept that, but you said your husband deals with it, whatever that means. It means he's the one. And in my family,
your wife
Mrs.
does it,
Brydon is happy for me to put the rubbish out. I do it every Thursday
Do you take
night.
a little stepladder out with you?
Yes, because I can't reach the top of the wheelie bin, so... or sometimes I just take a run at it.
So... Cascading down on your head! And then, when you think it's all over the place, the little mammals turn up to clear all the rubbish. Give us a rough average over 2 weeks at that time. How many takeaways were you eating?
Every other night, I think.
So that's what? That's normal to me, isn't it?
He writes a note and it says...
It said, I remember it beginning with, I hope you don't think this is rude, and
You
know,
did.
it is rude,
Yeah.
and it was rude.
I don't know this is rude, but...
I wonder if you've considered that you may be eating too many takeaways. Yours, Mark.
So stand up.
What?
Stand up.
I am standing up.
No. All them takeaways, let's have a look
That's
at you.
my mic pack.
I'm going to go and have a quick feel.
Oh my God.
I'm allowed to, I'm gay.
If it turns out this whole facade has been a lie, Louis...
It's all right, I'm gay.
Can I just say, Catherine, I'm gay.
Well, I can tell you, she doesn't feel like she's eaten a lot of takeaways. She's firm and tiny.
Well, thank God that was the answer, because it would have been awful if it had gone back up. She's telling the truth.
She's tight.
She stinks of curry.
No, she's tight and toned.
Lee, what about your other suspects?
David O'Doherty.
Hello.
Hi. You were running a detective agency for lost animals, is that correct?
Well, we started off just as a detective agency generally.
And then these lost animals started ringing you up, saying, "Can you find my owner for me?"
No.
What?
It's the mid-'80s in Dublin. There's a lot of crime. And we were 8 or 9, and we decided we were going to do something about the crime.
So you start off this detective agency, and it doesn't go so well. So you think you need to be a bit more niche.
We just weren't getting the caseload. We were getting nothing.
Did you recover any lost animals?
Well, in the window of the local shop, there seemed to be some people had lost cats and dogs. And some of them were offering cash rewards. It was decided that we would ring up one of these people, and as I had the most mature voice of the agency, I had to speak to the lady.
And what would you say?
Hello, is that Mrs. Whitaker? And she would go, yes. And I'd say, and did you lose a cat called Whiskers recently? And she'd go, oh yes, oh yes. And I'd go, well, you're in luck, because my 8-year-old friend and I have set up a pet-finding detective agency. And we're going to take on your case.
And did you have any results? Any good results? Did you ever find an animal, ever?
No.
What about the other David, as he's now known?
Oh, we're
Mr.
actually
Mitchell?
considering that, are we?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
What were you buying in Argos?
A kettle.
Walk me through the process of how it worked when you went to Argos.
So I walked through the door and I looked through the catalogue to find the kettle.
Good start.
Yeah.
What type of kettle did you go for?
For boiling water.
So, you've seen the kettle, and then what? What happens next?
I filled in I checked on the little keypad that they had it in stock.
I'll tell you what, you are down with the kids.
This, the pen that
Yes.
you swallowed, how long was it?
It was sort of about that long, I think.
And you choked?
Absolutely marvellous. Never has such a clean sentence meant so much.
Why did you put it in your mouth?
I was sort of chewing the end of it, sort of thinking.
Trying to look
and then
working class,
I sneezed.
You sneezed? The way you do when you sneeze and suck in at the same time, yeah?
And what, you had a backdraft effect, did you? And it went, straight in.
So you sneezed?
In order, I involuntarily inhaled before the exhalation.
Are you like
That is
Hoover
what-
Man? Did everything implode into your gob? That's my child! Get his legs! So Mark's ran up to you.
Yeah.
Has he give you the Heimlich manoeuvre?
No. He just sort of patted me hard on the back a few times.
Right. We need an answer.
I can't see Mr. Mitchell in Argos.
I think it could be true, his story, because he looks quite Irish, quite fair, isn't he? And
he looks Irish?
Yeah, I think he looks Irish.
So what are you going to say then, Lee?
Should we say David O'Doherty?
I've told you, I mean, you don't blame me, that's all I'm saying.
We're going to go David O'Doherty.
Saying David O'Doherty. OK. Mark, would you now please reveal your true identity?
David O'Doherty and I ran a pet detective agency.
Yes, it's absolutely true. You had a detective agency.
I was at home rooting around, and we made business cards. And the caption at the bottom is, "We handle everything."
You're the first detective.
Yeah.
And Mark is...
He's down as notes.
Down as notes. Notes. You've reduced him to an inanimate noun.
What a man. Thank you very much, Mark. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies. We will start with... It's Louis.
Oh, get my glasses on. This means I've got to read. Right, hold on. I make myself cry before every big dance performance to get rid of any excess water weight.
What do you think, David?
My first question is, what do you think of to produce this torrent of tears that would get rid of all this excess water?
Well, I mean, as a dancer, you're so criticised for the way you look, and some of the things you have to wear on stage are very revealing and can be very tight. And so I just think about how awful I would look and what kind of criticism I would get.
Right.
So that's enough to reduce me to tears.
Right. The spiteful remarks that people would make if you don't burst into tears and lose a few pounds of water.
Yes.
Pounds? Would you be losing pounds just for the quick
listen,
cry?
yes, you can. You absolutely can.
Louis, where did you discover this technique?
Well, it's actually... a lot of ballet dancers, a lot of commercial dancers do it. I mean, it's a funny world we live in. What we do is extreme. What we do with our body is extreme. You know, it's just one more thing to be extreme with.
How do you make sure it doesn't go onto your skin and then still be weighing you
do
down?
it like this with a flat back over. So they just drop like that.
That must be really difficult to stand. I mean, have you any experience of standing in that position?
Can you cry now?
This is the only time I do it.
I'm surprised you can be in that position and can do anything that would bring tears to your eyes. Louis, would you like some music?
Oh, don't get me started, because you know I'm not an exhibitionist. And let me know...
We bring the stars out, we bring the women and the cars and the cars out. Let's have a total celebration, get the glass out. And we can do this until we pass out.
I feel better now.
Right, David, it's time to guess.
I think we as a team don't think that that's true.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we're all on edge as we wait to find out. Louis, truth or lie?
Lie.
Oh, what a shocker. Yes, it's a lie. Louis doesn't make himself cry before every big dance performance to get rid of any excess water weight. Lee?
I can tell the circumference of someone's head just by looking at them.
David, what do you think?
No, you can't. Let's move on.
I actually had my head measured yesterday for
What
a
a
week.
waste of time. You should have just come here today.
So I know exactly what my head circumference is right
hey,
now.
Catherine, bring it on.
Go on then, what's her head circumference?
Let the lady ask if she wants to know. Yes, can I help you?
Lee,
Yeah.
what is the circumference of my head?
Could you just have a little bit of a... I would say that, from my expert opinion, you are... I would say you are a large.
David, large isn't a circumference.
Tell me, what did he say? Because they've got it wrong, I guarantee. Listen to this, what did he say?
He said that I was 24 inches.
Well, there you go. Classic layman. You're clearly a 23.
What do you reckon about my head, you know, in terms of circumference?
You're a 26. 26.
Right, 26 inches.
28, 26, 23 and a half.
You're not just reversing perspective and thinking that the heads that are further away must be larger.
Bizarrely, David's head is actually bigger than Catherine's, even with the perspective of the distance. Catherine's got quite a small head.
She's got quite a small head, which you defined early on as large.
It's time to encourage Lee to stop talking.
I don't think it's true.
Do you not?
No.
There is something about it that just has the ring of
Fishy.
total crock to it.
Have you got a tape measure?
What, why?
Well, then we can prove I'm right by measuring your head.
Yeah, if we did have a tape measure, you wouldn't want to prove you're right, because you don't get a point just if this is true. You have to make it...
No, if you had a tape measure, you would prove that I'm right, and then you'd say true.
Yeah, and
Then
it would
I'd
be
get a point.
true, and we'd get a point.
And... Do you mind if I just... Sorry, I know what I'm doing. I used to be a vet.
My head shape is like a torpedo, though, and you have to get the
Remember
full
not to
length.
measure it from the nose, Lee. That was, that was a tip you did earlier.
Right, hang on.
I mean, you can take it. The nature of a head is
You've
that
got
it
to
gets
get the
smaller,
height
so
of
you're
the
going
head.
to...
David, would you read out the result, please?
No.
23.
So, David, what does that lead you to?
I still don't believe it.
Really?
I still don't believe... Do you believe him now?
No, I
do you
don't.
believe him now?
Oh, my
A little bit.
You believe it a little bit? I think we're going to say this is a lie.
You're going to say it's a lie?
Yeah.
Lee Mack,
Yes?
were you telling the truth or were you lying?
I was, in fact, telling a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Lee can't tell the circumference of someone's head just by looking at them. And that noise signals time is up and it's the end of the show. And I can reveal that David's team romped to victory by 6 points to 3. But of course, it's not just a team game. And my individual liar of the week this week is David O'Doherty. Yes. David O'Doherty. Obviously, I don't really think he's the best liar, but I'm just giving him the award to fulfill a regional quota. Good night. Oh, yes. Good evening and welcome welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that celebrates the art of lying. On Lee Mack's team tonight, the England star who once beat Wayne Sleep. Luckily, it was in I'm a Celebrity and not with a cricket bat. It's Phil Tufnell! And a splendid comedian who likes to satirise the great and the good. So it'll be nice for him to have a night off and mix with us lot. It's Marcus Brigstock! And joining David Mitchell tonight, an actor and comedian who, during his 13 years as a drama teacher, said he found his pupils inspirational. They inspired him to leave teaching and become a comedian. Greg Davis! And as one of the longest-serving presenters on Blue Peter, she became an expert at explaining things in a way that a child could understand. Excellent training for sitting opposite Lee this evening. It's Connie Huck! Right, we start with round one, which is Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the truth from the lies. And Greg, you are first.
Am I?
You are, yes.
For my first term at university, I rented the bathroom in a student house and slept in the bathtub every night.
Lee? Greg?
Yes?
Before we even start this, can you stand up?
There'll be no... Unless David stands up with me, there'll be no perspective.
David? In fact, let's have proper perspective. Connie, can you stand up? You know the question.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Well, I just hung off the end of the bath, as I hang off every single bed that I've ever slept in.
No. You definitely don't hang off a bath like you hang off a bed. Because a bed go like that and then you hang off.
Yeah.
You'd have to go up and cross and hang off. You're tall, but you're not a snake, Greg.
The thing what actually drove me to change my circumstances was that I was bruising the side of my cheek regularly by waking up in the morning and clanging into one of the taps.
Can I ask why on earth you would sleep with your head at the tap end? That is mad.
Yes, well, you know, I was 18 years of age and I mainly lived off Thunderbird wine, so bad decisions were my forte at that period.
So did you have a bed?
No.
In the house? Did you? Oh, so that was the reason you was in the bath.
There was a...
Well, why do you think he was in the bath?
I chose to, Phil, yeah.
How many other people were there in the flat?
3.
3 people, what, 3 beds?
Yeah.
Why would you not sleep on the floor next to the bath?
We had a giant 1970s sofa that had a peculiar corner unit, and I took both cushions from that corner unit and they fitted in the bath perfectly, and it was incredibly comfortable.
So hang on, it wasn't a freestanding bath?
A roll top?
Yeah, was it a roll top freestanding bath?
It wasn't a freestanding bath, but the end of the bath projected out into the room.
Where was this, Greg? Which town was this, Oxford or Cambridge?
It was in Isleworth in West London. It was only because of a mix-up in housing agreements. We soon sorted out after a term. I only had to do it for a term.
What was the mix-up?
I'd agreed to move in with these 3 guys and we got the wrong size house.
Hang on, that's not a mix-up, that's just stupidity. There was 4 of you, and you got a 3-bedroom house. Been a bit of a mix-up,
The boys blamed me, which is why I got the bath.
Why did they blame you?
Because I was the one who booked the house.
How did you get into university?
So, Lee, what are you thinking?
Marcus?
I think it's too preposterous to be true.
The taps for me. You don't. If you're going to sleep in a bath, you don't put your head up the tap.
I think it might be true, but I'm not going to over...
Oh, well, you're the skip. You've got the armband, son.
I might be the skip.
Do you get armbands if you're a captain?
Only if you can't swim.
I'm telling you, I don't know if this is in the spirit of this game, this is true.
That was sufficiently moving. I'm going with it. I'm saying it's true now.
What are you saying, Skippy?
Should we say true?
True.
Not skippy, Rob, not skippy. That's no good, right? I'm not going to go and go and fetch help. I'm going to skip, right?
Someone's fallen into a mine shaft.
We're going to go for true.
Go on, mate.
True. Change it to true. We're changing it. We're going for true.
You're saying it's true. Greg Davis, were you telling us the truth or were you telling a lie?
Do you feel, David, any sense of genuine competition in this game?
Yes, I do, yeah.
Then I think you're going to like me very much. It was a lie.
Yes, it was a lie. Greg didn't sleep in his bathtub every night for his first term at university. Right, Phil Tufnell, you're next.
Right. OK. I'm haunted by a recurring dream in which I'm a potato.
David.
Okay. How does the dreaming realisation that you're a potato manifest itself?
I'm being chased.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, of course, because potatoes get chased all the time.
I'm being chased by a pitchfork.
How do you know you're a potato?
Because you can't move.
No, I can't. I've got... It's like Mr. Potato Head. I wear a little trilby hat, little legs, and I'm running along the garden like that with a pitchfork trying to poke me. And I'm sort of climbing up trees and things, and the pitchfork sort of going for me. And
Has it ever caught you?
no, it has never caught me yet. And then, just as it is going to catch me, I think I'll wake up.
What do you think that the pitchfork wants to do? Is it attempting to harvest you?
It's a family show.
I think all the
Heavy with symbolism, David.
Yes,
it is,
isn't
I mean,
it? Yes, there's
the
a lot of
sturdy steel of the pitchfork, the soft, pliant flesh of the potato. I'm getting a little worked up just thinking about it, to be honest with you.
He didn't say it was boiled, did he?
I think it's baked.
Oh, it is baked
potato.
So you're a baked potato?
I think I'm a baked...
What are you doing in the garden if you've already been cooked?
How long have you had this dream?
I've had it...
He only has it when he's mashed.
Yeah, I think quite a bit, actually, you know. It's quite at the forefront of my dream.
I'm just sitting here listening to you. You could be related to Len Goodman from Strictly Come Dancing. Could you just say for me, look at that, yeah. Your paso doble was lovely. I liked it. It was cool. You're a bit over there, but you're trying hard. I'm going to give you 6. I'm doing Len Goodman from Strictly Come Dancing. What do you think, David?
Well, it's possible, isn't it? What do you think?
I'm not convinced.
I think it's, without question, a lie, because when he was asked how the potato was moving, I actually saw Phil's brain working to think of the Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah. It is true that lots of people have dreams, don't they, where they're being sort of chased, don't they? That's quite a natural thing.
Yes, generally they haven't become a root vegetable.
You think it could be true, don't you?
Look, my brain is shot by this game. I think anything could be true.
I am so sure it's a lie.
Well, we're going to say it's a lie, then.
Going to say it's a lie. OK. Phil Tufnell, were you telling the truth or were you lying?
I was telling...
No! It's true. Phil is haunted by a recurring dream in which he is a potato. There's a technical term for Phil Tufnell turning into a potato. It's called evolution. And our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Ian. Connie.
Sorry, even before we start, I can tell you now, lads, this man does not know David Mitchell.
Connie, what is Ian to you?
And this is Ian. When he brought his lizards onto Blue Peter, one of them went missing. Later that evening, I found it in my handbag.
All right. David, what's your connection?
This is Ian. I sat next to him on a plane, and he had such a fear of flying that I had to hold his hand throughout takeoff and landing.
It turns out David Mitchell might know this man really, really well.
Greg, how do you know Ian?
This is my friend Ian. One night after getting drunk together, he was wrongly arrested on suspicion of murder.
So there we have it. Connie's lizard loser, David's terrified passenger, or Greg's falsely accused friend. Where do you want to start?
So Ian here brought lizards to a flagship BBC children's programme and left going, well, you don't always go home with the same number of lizards. The great thing with Blue Peter is if you lose an animal there, they'll make up a name for it. What type of lizard?
Yeah.
Well, there was a selection of lizards. He brought in about 8 or 10 lizards, and there were chameleons.
And did one of them change its colour to the same as your handbag?
Yes.
And it's getting lost.
It wasn't a chameleon.
The lizard.
What was it?
It was a lizard.
What was your handbag made?
The handbag was made of snake. No, it wasn't.
Whereabouts were you at Blue Peter when you found the lizard in your hand?
No, I wasn't. I was actually in my car, and my handbag was on the passenger seat.
Yeah.
So you opened your bag to get some money out or something?
I was in the multi-storey car park, and I'd stopped, and I just wanted to check that I had my phone.
Right,
and
OK.
So and then I was
you
like...
opened it, and did you go, hello? Hello?
I had a theory that someone put it in as a joke, but I don't know, and I've not...
Oh, the wacky days of Blue Peter.
Hilarious. I don't know if it's in the spirit of this game, but it really is true.
I'd like to say I'm not stupid enough to fall for this again. I am. OK, right. David.
Yes?
Just remind us again of your implausible story.
Well, I was on a plane next to Ian, and his fear of flying was such that I had to hold his hand during takeoff and landing.
And where were you going from and to?
I was going from Gatwick to...
That's an airport. Think of another one now.
Corsica.
Gatwick to Corsica? Yeah. And what did he say? Was there any, for want of a better word, foreplay, or did he go straight into that?
It was... On takeoff, he just suddenly... He started...
What?
He started sort of making agitated noises.
Please, can you do the demonstration? I think we all want to see the agitated noises.
No.
Go on.
As I remember it, it was just sort of...
Are you sure that wasn't the engine, David?
Yes. Yes, Lee, I'm sure it wasn't the engine.
So basically, he's standing agitated.
Yeah.
Has he grabbed your hand?
Then he grabs my hand.
There's no talking. There's not. Do you mind if he's just gone?
Not at that point, no.
You slag, David Mitchell. And what did you say? Do you mind? I'm a married woman. I mean, what did you do?
I don't think I said anything.
You know why he's grabbed your hand, do you? You know he's...
Well, I assumed it was... I didn't think it was sexual attraction.
Right.
But it's very sweet of you to leap to that conclusion.
Did either of you have fellow travellers with you?
No. No,
we were both just flying to Corsica.
Yeah.
To see what might happen.
I was...
See who you meet on the plane, maybe. And this happened again when you came in for landing?
After we became... sort of when it levelled off, when we became fully airborne... that sounds like a virus. He then said, he sort of apologised and said, I'm really sorry, I freak out sometimes on a plane. And I said, oh, not to worry.
I bet that calmed him down.
I once stroked a girl's back while we were having a very difficult re-entry over... we were coming into Heathrow, and I didn't know her, and she was crying, and I just reached out and just stroked her back.
There was a reason why she was crying, wasn't there? The madman behind was stroking her back.
I wasn't behind her. I was like that with her. I was going, hey, it's OK. No, look, it's fine. This is just turbulence. She was honestly, this is nothing. This is nothing, honestly. This is normal, really. This bloody hell. Not really. And she was quietly sobbing. I mean, it was quite... I'm BAFTA nominated, I should point that out. So these things do happen. That's
They definitely happen. There's definitely people get nervous on flights.
I think we have to deal with Greg's story.
Go on, Greg. Let's have it.
I got drunk with Ian, and later he was arrested wrongly on suspicion of murder.
Thank God that bit's in.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, I wasn't really part of it because we both passed out. It was a college ball, and we all drank vast amounts. Particularly Ian and I drank a ridiculous amount, and then both collapsed. The last thing I remember is Ian falling down and him obviously being horribly hurt. And I woke up on a carpet and ran...
That's a nice change from the bath.
Not in the bath. I ran upstairs and he was sitting up in his bed, honestly looking... His face was swollen like a pumpkin. And then he told me that night, when he'd been stumbling about drunk, he'd been arrested for murder because someone with a similar facial wound had murdered someone in the town.
Someone with a similar... Oh, so the facial wound from falling...
Yeah.
And someone with a similar facial wound had murdered somebody else.
Yeah.
That's unlucky.
Where was this?
How did they know he wasn't the murderer? What was the defining point in the interview?
He told me that they'd questioned him for hours, and eventually he said to the police, and I think this is a quote, "I'll be honest with you, lads, I could well have done it."
And yet they still let him out before you'd woken up.
It upsets me to think that police respond to double bluffs like that.
And just to be clear, it was proven at the end that he had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Correct.
Right.
Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't be here. No. We never established just why David was going to Corsica.
On his own.
Was it Club 18 to 30 again?
No, it was a holiday. I was going on holiday with a group of friends, but I could only go a day after everyone else.
They made those rules, did they?
So, Lee's team. Is Ian Connie's reptile wrangler, David's frightened flyer, or Greg's suspicious friend? Which one are you going for?
What do we think, Phil?
I quite like Connie.
Well, we all do.
Well, there you go.
Focus, Phil.
Yeah. Now, I can imagine a bit of Blue PT. He looks like a chap who might sort of keep lizards. I don't know why.
I'm slightly leaning towards Greg, only because I don't believe David.
I'm inclined to think that Connie's story is true.
Oh, go on then, Connie. If you've suckered these two idiots into it, I'll go along with that.
Ian, would you like to reveal to us your true identity?
My name is Ian. Whilst at college with Greg Davis, we got very drunk one night and was wrongly arrested on suspicion of murder.
When I went up in the morning, he was sitting upright in bed and his head was 3 times its natural size. And I went, "Oh, my God, mate, are you all right?" And he looked at me like this and went, "We've gone too far this time, mate."
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, in which our panellists lie not only to their teeth, but against the clock. We will start with... Lee, yes. Of course.
I once had to show my boss an intimate area of my body to prove why I was late for work.
Which part of your body, and why did that prove that you were late for work?
It was my... well, I think we all know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
No.
Well, let's call him Mr. Wee Wee.
You actually had to show it to him?
I didn't. Well, I didn't have to. He didn't say.
You elected.
Oh, so
He didn't say prove it, get it out. But I could tell he was doubting me.
You
I
offered
said
it.
honestly, look, and I got it out.
So what was it? What?
That's the bit they're all waiting for.
Yeah. What did it prove?
Mr. Wee Wee had banged his head.
What on?
What on is a good question.
The ceiling.
We don't. Yeah. Yeah, basically, I was lying in bed, and I was naked, and I think there was a tiny little bit of glass in the bed. And it just wouldn't stop bleeding. So I had to get some tissue paper. I wrapped it round quite a lot, and I can't lie, it ended up looking like Mr. Bump.
It was blue.
It was. I just put lots of it on, and then I just told him the truth. I said, sorry I'm late, there was an incident. Told him the incident. He went, like that, as if to say, you're not telling the truth. I said, do you want to see it? Whizzed it out. He went, oh, it's Mr. Bump.
So every time someone raises their eyebrows at you, your instinct is to get your penis.
Stop it, Greg! Stop it! You know I can't help myself. Stop it!
He made you show it.
No, he didn't make me. He at never point made me do it.
Right.
All he did was give you the sign.
The thing is... Stop it, Greg!
You were in no position to deploy it.
I was quite well covered. It was full of bandaged tissue paper, so it was easy to get it out and keep my dignity. In fact, I was quite proud of it. It was like this. I said, you want to have a look at it, mate? There it is. Clap your eyes around that little beauty. Mr. Bump's fainted. Get used to it.
David, what do you think? Is he telling the truth? Let's have a decision.
Connie?
Well, I could weirdly believe it.
Yes, I could believe it. I mean, it's a very extreme story to have made up.
It's too much, so it must be true.
Yeah.
You're saying true?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're saying true.
You're saying true. OK, Lee, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, true.
Yes, it's true. Lee went on to a successful career in entertainment, while his boss went on to antidepressants and a course of trauma therapy. Next, it's David.
I recently bought a cat, but took it back a day later because our personalities clashed.
Once again, David is mixing up the word cat and wife.
What was the matter with his personality? What were you clashing on?
Well, the use of claws.
He didn't like that, did he?
Yeah.
What was he scratching?
Scratching, well, slightly me, but also furniture quite vigorously.
Scratching your furniture?
Yeah. There was a sort of corner of a sofa and a corner of a table. Okay. Corners.
Always the corners.
Yeah, always corners.
Was he a kitten when you got him?
No, sort of. I think sort of about 2.
2 years old.
That's quite quick.
Why did you buy a 2-year-old cat rather than a kitten?
Well, it came from Battersea Cats and Dogs Home.
Yeah.
Which I thought that's like the responsible place to source a pet.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know.
Did you pay for the cat?
No.
Oh.
No, it was a sort of, you home it.
You home it?
You give it a home.
Oh, I see.
It was a homing
I
cat.
thought you meant you threw it out the window like a pigeon.
I rehomed the cat.
Yeah.
Did they come round and have a look at where he was going to stay?
No.
Didn't they?
No.
No, they did with mine.
Yeah, well, that's your history, Phil. That's just you.
What colour was it? What kind of style was it? Style? What sort of...
Art Deco.
What sort of breed was it?
It was tortoiseshell. With the sort of the odd blotch.
You took it back after one day?
Yes.
How long was it in your house before you went, oh, this is rubbish, this is going back?
I was suspicious after as little as an hour. I was despondent after 6 hours. After 8 hours, I was decided.
So what are you going to say then? Truth or lie?
Lie for me.
What do you say, Marcus?
Oh, I don't know, no, I'm confused. A lie then.
I'll say lie then.
You're going to say lie. OK, David, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. David didn't buy a cat and then return it a day later because their personalities clashed. Aloof, rather prickly in temperament and hard to befriend. David still doesn't have a cat. Next. And it's Greg.
I used to try and scare school friends by planting a particular drawing in their pockets, signifying death.
Lee, what do you think?
What was the drawing?
It was an owl.
The Owl of Death.
Its full title was actually the Hoot Owl Death Sign.
What do you mean, the Owl of Death? What was it doing in this drawing?
Hoot Owl Death Sign?
That old chestnut.
I could draw it for you if you like.
Greg?
Yeah?
I've got a pen, I've got some paper.
I'll come over there.
No, I'll come to you. Don't stand up next to me, it just highlights it.
Can you, Greg, can you...
So please, draw the Owl of Death.
So...
Don't look at it, David, you'll die.
Oh my God! Oh, please put it away.
So just imagine you're innocently, you went in your pocket, innocently minding your own business. You go, oh, what's this in my...
Oh no, it's the Owl of Death!
Your friends would find that in their pocket and be...
Not my friends, my deadly enemies.
Right.
What would be the purpose of that?
It was for people who had crossed my friend and I.
Well, what kind of things would they have to do to cross you?
There was an English teacher who we found a bit boring, so he slipped one in his pocket. That was the highlight of the whole campaign, actually, was that the English teacher once stood up in front of the class and was chatting away and went into his pocket and went, oh. And he went, sorry, everyone. Does anyone know anything about this? Because I've just...
Was the purpose of it to scare them? Like, you would tell them later on it was you? Or?
No, of course not. We were both nerdy cowards.
You created a sort of mythology around what might happen if you found the Hoot Owl of Death in your pocket,
In our minds, anyone who found the Hoot Owl of Death in their pocket would very shortly afterwards meet their demise.
Time to take a guess. What are you going to say?
What do we think, Phil? Do you think that is possible?
I think it's possible, but I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
OK.
You say lie, you say lie. What about you, Lee?
I say lie.
Right. Greg?
Yes.
Truth or lie?
Well, it would be pretty tragic if two boys had spent their youth doing that, wouldn't it?
True.
And it is indeed true.
Yes, it's true. Greg did try and scare school friends by planting a particular drawing in their pockets, signifying death. Well, that noise signals time is up and it's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team are the victors by 7 points to 3. But, of course, it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week is Greg Davis. Yes, Greg Davis, whose stories were so tall, some of them almost came up to his shoulder. Good night. Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that celebrates the dark art of the tall tale. On David Mitchell's team tonight, he's spied on more birds than a teenage Russell Brand. It's the comedian, naturalist and TV presenter Bill Oddie. One of the country's best-loved comedians who's also had a #1 hit in the charts. Finally, someone I can relate to. It's Frank Skinner! And joining Lee Mack tonight, a comedian who used to have a job in a call centre. She says it wasn't that bad, but the daily 17-hour commute to Mumbai was knackering. Sarah Millican! And a comedian who trained as a chef but had to give it up when he realised he wasn't a rude, cantankerous arse. John Richardson. So we start with round 1, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the truth from the lies. And Sarah Millican is first tonight. Sarah.
OK. I once wet myself in a car and then blamed it on my friend's dog.
David.
Right. I mean, it's I'm willing to believe it. I'll say that at this point. Why did you wet yourself in a car?
Because I needed a wee in a car.
I've needed a wee in a car, but I've never weed in a car.
I was once stuck in a very long line of traffic trying to get onto the Severn Bridge on the M4, and I let myself go in a 1 litre bottle of Volvic.
I did that on the motorway, and my problem was I was really desperate, and I had a bottle of water, and I had to drink the water. My body was saying, no more water. So it was a terrible cyclical thing. No sooner than I got it down, it was out again. I didn't want to draw attention to myself, because people might pull up either side, and I'd clearly, by my facial expression, be urinating at that.
Oh, please show us that face.
So, I mean, this is obviously just for everyone but me a commonplace occurrence.
Yes.
Basically, lavatories are just for me.
What a great name for your autobiography.
Who did you blame the dog to, if you see what I mean?
To the mechanic when I took it in for a valet.
So whose car was it?
My car.
Your car? You peed in the car?
Yep.
Were you in a... Is there a good reason for that? Were you in a traffic jam after a large bottle of Evian?
I was, well, just tap water, probably.
Right. I've never been in a car with a tap, so, you know...
It's a very posh car.
All right.
Yeah, I was stuck in it.
It's so posh, it's plumbed in. Literally got gangs of people following it with pipes.
Well, to be fair, if it was plumbed in, I'd have probably had a toilet in there as well, wouldn't I?
I've never done this, but is it conceivable... Because as a woman, you don't really have much control over where it's going. But as a man, is it conceivable you could aim it out of the window?
You could, but the speed you were going at would mean it all came straight back in at you. So when you got to this mechanic, what did you say? I mean, was the stain so clearly visible?
No, it had sunk right in.
Was he a bit confused that the dog was driving?
No, because it wasn't on the driver's seat.
You changed seats to
That is dangerous. You change seat in a traffic jam where you're in control of the vehicle.
You can't buy class, can you?
If I looked in a rear-view mirror, I'd think that passenger looks very, very content considering there's no one driving.
So what are you thinking, David?
What do you think, Frank?
I just think Sarah is the kind of strong, independent woman who would step out of her car, stride to the hard shoulder, and say, just go, and then do it.
Yeah. Bill, do you believe it?
Yes, I think it happened.
Well, you think it's true and you think it's a lie. So I have to decide, which I hate. I think it's true.
You think it's true?
Yeah.
OK. So in that case, Sarah, truth or lie?
It is, true.
Well done, David.
You listen to that in future.
Goodness me.
I was stuck in traffic for 2.5 hours. I was in absolute agony and thought it was the only way out, and it was either that or rupture something, so I just moved across, stripped, weighed, moved across, pulled back up, champion.
Well, there we are. And if you've been affected by any of the issues raised on tonight's show, Frank.
OK. I was once driven to A&E in an ice cream van. In place of a siren, the driver turned on the musical chimes.
What happened to you that involved having to go to A&E?
Well, I was playing rounders, and I ran in between bases, and I sort of went over on my ankle. And it was in Cornwall.
Your ankle?
Yes. That's how far out of place it went.
Blimey!
So I'm in real proper agony, like, honestly, I thought I was going to black out. It hurt so much. And somebody phoned an ambulance, and It probably was about 25 minutes. And still no sign. This bloke came over from the ice cream van and he said, I'll take you to the hospital.
So they're trying to dial the emergency service. Perhaps instead of dialing 999, they press 99. It's easily done. So you've gone over on your ankle, and the ice cream man has seen you from a distance, has
Well,
he?
we didn't have a car. We all got the train down, so no one had a car with them.
Right.
So this bloke said, I'll give you... And I was just... The idea of getting to somewhere where they could just give me a painkilling injection would have been lovely.
And presumably you didn't get the siren going straight away?
No, it wasn't the siren. It was green sleeves.
Well, green sleeves, but...
Did you, like, give him some money for lost trade?
Oh, no. John, when you've been a celebrity a bit longer, you'll realise that money is no longer relevant.
Whereabouts in Cornwall were you?
I was in Truro.
I don't understand why you would put the siren on.
I think I said... I did mention to him that I liked music from the Tudor period.
I also don't understand why you were in Truro, because if you didn't drive, you would have got the fast service to Penzance.
Our holiday was a combination of rail travel and taxis. And a little bit of ice cream vans.
So, time for a decision.
What do we think?
I'm not happy with it.
You're not happy with it?
Not happy with it.
You're not having it?
Oh, I think it's true.
I don't want to become Trevor Travel Planner, but if... I mean, a rounders kit is something you throw in the boot of a car. You don't take it on a train.
OK, so you're saying it's true?
I think it's true.
John thinks it's a lie?
Yeah.
We'll say it's a lie, then.
You're going to say it's a lie? OK, Frank, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Frank wasn't driven to A&E in an ice cream van. In fact, accidents involving ice cream vans are incredibly rare, yet always result in the tragic loss of hundreds and thousands. Bill, you're next.
Right, OK. I was saved from drowning by a character from the children's show Rainbow.
Wow.
Surprisingly buoyant, you 6-foot felt-covered man.
Well, hang on, we don't know he's felt-covered. There was unfelt-covered men as well. People.
Jeffrey.
Human beings, I think.
Jeffrey.
Well, let's not give him any names. Don't help him. Oh. Which character? If he says Jeffrey, I'll kill you.
Freddie.
Well, there was a Freddie. There was a Rod, Jane and Freddie.
Rod, Jane and Freddie,
so.
Yeah, he was the sexier of them.
I always like the pink hippo.
Only one arm, though.
What?
Yeah, George and Zippy had one arm each.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. The other arm was in the mouth, wasn't it?
What are you saying?
Sorry.
You say a lot of disgusting things on this show, but now you've gone too far.
So Freddie has saved you from what was that, pond?
From drowning. The pond?
It was in the sea.
It was the ocean.
The ocean, OK. Which ocean was it?
It was the Indian Ocean.
Did you get the train there? I would like to.
Now, the question I want to know is Fred from Rod, Jane and Freddie, is he on holiday with you, or is this an unbelievable coincidence?
It is actually an unbelievable coincidence.
Did he recognise you?
Yes, he did.
He'd known
yeah.
you already?
No, he did know me. I hadn't met or anything like that.
No, but he was aware. He was aware.
But he was aware that there was somebody in the sea, some way offshore, waving as if to say, I am drowning, I am drowning.
He probably thought you were doing the Funky Gibbon, didn't he?
It might have been pre-Funky Gibbon.
What year was it?
Wow. Surely human beings still lived in the sea.
You're in the sea,
Yes.
and then Rod, Jane and Freddie... Or just Freddie. Is he with Rod and Jane, by the way?
He was with Jane.
Well, Jane and Freddie were a couple, weren't they?
I think there still are a couple.
Did Rod must have felt left out?
He was giving it to Zippy.
Did he cup you in the traditional...
No, he didn't cup me.
I don't mean...
Oh, no.
Did he...
Yes.
Well, I'm not suggesting he'd arrive before I save you.
So I got pulled in backwards, yes, on my back.
Onto the shore?
Yes, back to the shore, and it was
Well,
about...
how's he going to be back to the shore? He's not going to take him further out.
He might have been intercepted by a lifeboat.
That was the angriest he has been in 3 series.
Don't come onto this show and soil the seats.
Too late.
So, Bill, he gets you back to the shore. Was that the end of it?
We then exchanged pleasantries and said, you know, what the hell are you doing here? They were on holiday, we were on holiday. Total coincidence.
My query would be this, and it's not train-related. Right? If no one else but Freddie was around, how did you not know you were on holiday with Freddie?
It was a very small island. I'll name drop it now. In the Seychelles. Ooh, bit of class.
Will we all get free holidays in the Seychelles now?
No,
Said that.
but I will.
I also think the Seychelles sound nice.
I've always adored the island of Mauritius.
Is anybody watching from Alton Towers?
OK, Lee, time for your decision. What is your laser-like mind telling you?
Me?
It's a lie.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it's a lie, because I don't remember any episodes of Rainbow that had Freddie swimming in them, so I'm not sure he could.
I think it's true, but I just have this really sad image
Listen,
of
I've
lots of
got
other
it.
people watching you drown.
Lots of people.
Bloody get him then.
OK, John says it's true. Sarah says it's a lie. I'm going to say it's true.
OK.
Very well, the answer is... It's true.
Yes, it's true. Bill was saved from drowning by Freddie from Rainbow. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Kathy. Welcome, Kathy. So, John, what is Kathy to you?
This is Kathy, and we crashed into each other while we were both on our driving test.
Sarah, how do you know Kathy?
This is my friend Kathy. We fooled the newspapers into reporting that she'd been left under the spell of a hypnotist at a hen party.
And, Lee, what about you?
This is Kathy. She's the hotel receptionist that I had to phone from my room when I found a peacock in my hotel room.
So there we have it. John's pranged motorist, Sarah's newspaper prankster, or Lee's peacock remover. David, where would you like to start?
John, your driving test, how did the crash happen? What manoeuvre were you attempting?
I was pulling out of a junction onto a carriageway, but then I saw a car, so I stopped, and she drove into the back of me.
Basically, 2 driving tests in convoy, as it were.
Yeah, well, you do the same route from the same driving school, don't you? When you go to get your exam.
Did you fail your test, John?
We both had to have our tests annulled because of the accident.
Annulled?
That usually involves the Pope, doesn't it?
When was this, John?
I just had to renew my licence, so 11 years ago.
11 years ago, OK. Kathy hasn't changed the number in 11 years.
She described it as weird, what had happened, and I remember thinking it wasn't weird. You hit me. So she said we should keep numbers, jokingly, and said, so that we don't get our test on the same day next time. Lol.
Yeah. Did people say lol 11 years ago?
Yeah, it was just coming in then.
Right.
Before we even knew you could write it down.
Yeah. Sarah, why did you... what's the story here? What?
The disinterested policeman.
I think you mean uninterested policeman. All good policemen are disinterested.
Yes, good point.
Not an amusing point.
But grammatically an absolute belter.
Yeah.
What's the difference between what does disinterested
Disinterested means impartial. Uninterested means bored.
I think I know which one the audience are.
Sorry, please continue.
So, Sarah, you fooled the newspapers about a hypnotist at a hen party.
Fooled the newspapers into reporting that she had fallen under a spell put under by the hypnotist at the hen party.
And what was the nature of the spell? What did Kathy think she was?
Every now and again she would just burst into song as Madonna.
So how did you then fool the paper? Did you just phone them up?
Just phoned them up and told them, and...
They printed it.
They came out and did a photo shoot, the local paper.
Did it end up in any national paper?
Yeah, it ended up in most of the national papers.
Seriously?
Most?
Yep.
Was Kathy photographed? Was she in the paper looking Madonna-esque?
Yes, she was.
David, are you satisfied with your witness? Would you like to move on?
So
what about
Lee?
Lee?
You found a peacock in your hotel bedroom.
Yes, I found a peacock in my hotel room. Yeah.
Did they have ornamental grounds?
They had some sort of ornamental grounds to a degree. They definitely had peacocks.
Did you hear the peacock?
I woke up in the morning. It was ground floor, and you know, like most blokes who sleep on their own hotels, it can get a bit whiffy. All right. So I opened the French doors that were in the room. I opened the French doors. So I go into the swimming pool, which is very near my room. I come back with the dressing gown on. I walk in, and there's a peacock in my room.
Yeah, did he do the thing with his tail?
He saw me, and he sort of went like that, and I think his tail went up a little bit, and then he sort of ran around a bit, and then he sort of got a bit flustered, and I tried to waft him out the door. Yeah. I was a bit panicking, because I know a peacock doesn't sound very threatening, but it's one of those things that in your room suddenly becomes terrifying.
So, now you've tried to waft the peacock out, and then you ring reception, Kathy answers.
Yes.
What do you say?
I said, this is a bit weird, but there's a peacock in my room. And she said, oh, yeah, they do that a lot, believe it or not. Right. And she came round. She sort of just literally sort of was more assertive than me.
She wafted it with a bit more gumption.
Can you stop saying waft? It was a bit more masculine than that. I said waft once, and you haven't let it go, have you?
So you used the pillow, made a few noises,
and
the peacock went out.
The peacock went out, and then she even shut the doors for me. I was like, I could have done that.
It was a takeover bid by the peacocks to distract Kathy. When she got back to reception, 50 peacocks there. This is our hotel now.
I just think... I just think a receptionist would phone someone else, another member of staff, to deal with.
It wasn't a big five-star hotel. It was a sort of... You know, I don't know what star it was, but it was a sort of... It was more casual, the hotel, than you're imagining.
No. Peacocks are in very posh places and very formal places.
Very rural places, generally.
No. It's not like... You don't farm peacocks.
Yes, you do. People do farm peacocks.
OK, yes. The English countryside is covered in massive flocks of peacocks.
No, but they do farm peacocks.
All the peacock milk we endlessly drink. And laid back and basically hippie-ish than those hotels with peacocks milling around. In and out of the rooms, and the occasional panicky comedian won't join in, won't pal up with the peacock.
Say it, go on, I don't want to say it.
Tries to waft it out. And the only member of staff in the hotel has to come and make noises with the pillow.
Do you know what?
And apologise to the peacock later and say, we won't let him stay here again. He's all stuck up.
So, we need an answer. David's team. Is Kathy John's unfortunate learner driver, Sarah's hypnotised hoaxer, or Lee's receptionist to the rescue?
Well, you see, if we take Kathy, though, as the core of this whole thing...
Yeah.
I think Kathy looks too alternative and cool to work in a small, anonymous hotel.
Do you know what I'd say to that, Frank? Have you ever noticed sometimes you're talking to the receptionist at a hotel and they seem one thing, and you see them in the local pub later that night, and they can be quite punky. Right, David, decision time. What are you going to say?
Bill, what do you think?
I would think that it could be the peacock rescue.
I can see her doing all the moves for Madonna. I can see her with 3 muscular black men behind her doing a synchronised dance.
So can she, by the look of it.
Well, I think it's Sarah's. I think it's a local paper scam.
The local, that's what you're going for?
Yeah.
OK. Kathy, would you please reveal your true identity?
Hi, I'm Kathy.
and together, Sarah and I filled the local papers with our fake hypnotism story.
Wow. It was in the national press, it went in the Star and the Express, but it was biggest news on the Shields Gazette, where it was front page news. There it is. Thank you very much, Kathy. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth but against the clock. First off is... it's Lee.
When I'm at home, I amuse myself by shaving only half my face and doing that thing where you have a conversation between two people.
What are the characters of the shaved Lee, unshaven Lee?
I'll often do a sailor because that suits the look of the longer beard.
Could we have a little bit of sailor?
Looks like you shaved half your beard off again.
Hang on, that doesn't make sense because it doesn't. It looks like he's got the complete beard.
No. He has got the beard and he's talking to the man
to
who
the other person. Yes.
Looks like you shaved off your beard off again.
Yeah, but the other person looks like
the little boy looks up and goes, I couldn't help it. I had to because I was feeling a bit hairy.
Yeah. But that doesn't make any sense because the other one looks like he's completely shaved his beard.
No, sorry. I've shaved half the beard.
Yes, I know.
The one with the beard is the sailor with the beard.
Looks like you've shaved off your...
Meaning him.
half your beard off.
The other
to
fella.
the other one.
Yeah.
Who's then sort of going, yes, I did. Yes, I did shave half it off. But it doesn't look like they've shaved half it off. It just looks...
They've shaved it all off.
They've shaved it all off.
You say that. No, you're wrong. No.
I've shaved it all.
Wrong, David. Wrong. Now, I'll do it again. Right. Man with half a beard.
Yeah.
You looks like you shaved...
No,
Wait,
the character you're playing. Wait, the man with a
let me finish.
Okay.
Looks like you've shaved half your beard off again.
Okay.
Yes, I had to, but you should see the other side. Look, it's still there. And then the other fellow goes, I'm just as bad as you. Look, clean shaven. If you let the story finish, you know I'm using it well.
Why did you say half in the first remark?
You
Did you say it looks like you shaved your beard off again? Should we shave your whole beard off again? And he's going, yes, I know, but then let me show you more fully. Like you did.
I didn't say it like a red boy.
Coincidence, because I too am a cock.
You know what? The kids just laugh and clap.
Right, David, time for a decision.
Well, I think we think it's a lie, don't we?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Definitely a lie.
Saying it's a lie. OK.
Yeah.
Lee, is it the truth or were you telling a lie?
It is, in fact, true.
Yes, it's true. Lee does amuse himself by shaving only half of his face and pretending to have a conversation between two people. John.
Possession.
Right, there's a box under your desk. John, would you bring the box up, please?
This is the emergency kit that I keep in my car at all times.
Okay.
Well, not at all times, obviously. It's here. Lie!
Next. John, will you take it out of the box and put it on the desk there?
What would have been brilliant then if he'd have took his car out of
Can we investigate it?
Yes,
Do you want to, yes?
Spotty
I'd
mug.
quite like to. I'll be very careful with it.
Are you going to bring it back?
Well, yeah.
I'll be careful. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, I've never given another man my box before.
Okay.
I have, it's quite nice.
There's a mug, spotted mug.
Yeah, well spotted.
Yes, here's options, Belgian chocolate.
Bill, sorry, can you be careful with that? That's his mother's ashes.
Chocolatey ashes.
And here a little bottle of
some red wine.
Can I just say this is like the most boring version of the Generation Game.
Oh, the best ready, steady cook ever.
It's a sort of a post-nuclear deal or no deal.
Right, OK, so take us through why you've got these items.
Well, I'm on the road a lot, and I like food and alcohol. So I make sure I have some in case I have an unexpected overnight stay.
I love how seriously Bill and Frank are studying the product.
This has got a very curious marking on it. It was a circle and a pregnant woman and a line going across it. What's that got to do?
That suggests to me that they don't advise that pregnant women drink.
It's hardly hieroglyphics, Bill, is it?
Tell you what, if I found this in a car, I'd assume it was the flight recorder.
David, time to guess.
I think it's nonsense. So we have to say it's nonsense?
You're all saying it's a lie?
Yeah.
OK. John, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It is true.
And I should say, if you're thinking of compiling an emergency car kit of your own, both Would I Lie to You and the BBC would like to point out that other brands are available. And that noise signals time is up and it's the end of the show, and I can reveal that tonight's winners by a massive 7 points to 3, Lee's team. But, of course, it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week is Sarah Milliken. Yes, Sarah Milliken. Sarah hasn't lied so much since her first day on Loose Women when she told her co-hosts, honestly, I can't smell gin. Good evening and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that not only encourages liars, it rewards them. On David Mitchell's team tonight, it's the star of Pirates of the Caribbean. Johnny Depp knows him. It's McKenzie Crook. And a naturalist and TV wildlife presenter. Now, look, I'm not going to debase myself by doing cheap double entendres at his expense. I will just give you the ingredients and you can take it from there. Birds, tits, short-haired beavers. Knock yourself out. Chris Packham! And joining Lee Mack tonight, the country's most famous Victoria behind Beckham and Station. It's the writer and broadcaster Victoria Corrin. And a fine comedian who once starred as the voice of the Welsh Tourist Board. Imagine demeaning yourself by appearing in an advert. Rod Gilbert! And so to round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them to make things harder. They've never seen the card before, and they've got no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. And Rod is first up. Rod, please reveal all.
I was sacked from my job at a zoo when my boss found out I had been taking photos of the animals wearing hats.
So, just to clarify, were you wearing the hats or the animals?
No, I was taking photos of the animals wearing hats.
Yes, just to clarify, were you wearing hats or the animals?
Well, you think I was taking photos of animals while I was wearing multiple hats?
I would say that in the world of oddness, a man wearing 2 hats is no odder than an animal wearing 1.
Can you give us some examples of animal hat combos that you took photos of?
Yeah, I've done monkeys in bowler hats.
Of course.
I've done a hippo in a flat cap. And, well, I was going to call him a snake. It wasn't a snake. It was in the reptile house, but I don't know what he was, but he was wearing a fez.
Were these miniature hats? Can I ask, Rod? Were these little animal hats or human hats?
On the hippo? Are you mad?
No, but on the thing in the reptile house, I'm thinking a full-size fez is going to just hide the creature.
Yes, but what you're saying is, were the hats to scale?
Thank you. Rod, were the hats to scale?
The hats, well, I mean, to scale is a grand way of putting it, but I would certainly try and, try and make the hat fit.
Right.
The top of a hippo's head is actually quite a slippery affair.
Oh, you've got to get the right hat.
When you say...
What was your official role at the zoo?
General dog's body, basically.
I get the feeling that if you were going to put hats on animals, you'd have gone for deer stalkers and bear skins, you know?
I didn't say I didn't. We just haven't got all the way through the animals.
OK.
Right. You name a hat, you name an animal.
Deer stalker?
No, I didn't do a deer stalker.
Oh.
I didn't have a deer stalker. It wasn't a comprehensive... You can't
But you had a
cross-reference every
fez,
animal.
and you had a massive hippo-sized
Yes! It was a regular flat cap.
So what you're saying is
I didn't have every single animal in the zoo, and it wasn't every hat. I didn't cross-reference every single combination of animal and hat. I just put some on some.
Rod, where was this zoo? Was this a Welsh zoo? Was it Pennsgunner Bird Gardens, for example?
It was down in Pembrokeshire, in a place called Oaksnade.
Oaksnade?
Yeah.
There's a chain of snade zoos, isn't there? There's Oaksnade, Whipsnade.
And how did it all come to an end? What stopped this?
I got caught.
And who was it who apprehended you?
It was the manager of the zoo.
As a zoo owner and manager, I wouldn't have been offended. I can't see anyone being offended by a fez on a snake and a flat cap on a hippo. I'd have been...
Just what the zoo needs.
If it's down there in South Wales at this Oaksnade or something, I'd have thought any little hat on a cat would have done the
Why?
trick.
Because it's a Welsh zoo? Our animals aren't good enough in their natural habitat. We'd better dress them up a bit. You racist bastard. Unbelievable. Well, David, what do you think?
Well, I'll ask my team first. I mean, I've never heard of Oaksnade Zoo. Have you ever heard of Oaksnade Zoo?
Is that the most you doubt about that stuff?
Okay, no.
A flat cap on a hippo.
McKenzie,
Fair enough. Oaksnade Zoo. Not having it. Not having it.
My girlfriend owns a zoo. We tour zoos, and Oaksnade's never been on our agenda.
Oaksnade, the zoo that shares a syllable with Whipsnade. I think Mackenzie's right. That's the chink in the otherwise impenetrable armour of plausibility. That Oaksnade Zoo doesn't exist. I think we're very happy to say lie.
You're saying it's a lie, so, Rod, were you telling the truth or were you telling us a lie?
Well, chaps, I'm afraid I was telling a lie.
Yes, it was a lie. Rod wasn't sacked from his job at a zoo because he was caught taking photos of animals wearing hats. Mackenzie, you're up next.
Possession.
Possession, right. Now, there's a box, Mackenzie, under the desk. Would you take the possession out, pop it up on the desk, and then read the card for us, please? Oh.
Oh, hello.
This is my orchidometer. It was a present from my sister.
What does an orchidometer do?
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you what, I've seen one of those and it wasn't called an orchidometer. Admittedly, I haven't seen the whole length of it before.
What's an orchidometer, Mackenzie?
It is a piece of medical apparatus used for determining the size of testicles in male humans.
Why do you need to know the size of male testicles in humans? I'm 42, nobody's ever gone, hey, extra large.
I don't. This was bought for me by my sister.
Wait a minute. What? Some of them are so small, they're tiny.
You'd be surprised.
My sister bought this for me for nostalgic reasons.
Nostalgic?
Yeah.
To remind you... Hang on, if this is to remind you both of the good old days, we don't want to...
Well, surely nostalgia. In my sister, when I was growing up, you know, as my size bit, she would do a little pencil mark on the kitchen wall. Fair enough, but...
For your testicles?
You know how when someone gives you a jumper, they say, "Oh, try it on now"?
Which one are you? You must have done it.
I've never done it.
You liar!
I've never done it. Why would I want to
I'll tell you why, because the second we get out of the studio, I'm doing it, so I want to do it now in front of you all.
Well, do you know what? I think we'd all be very happy for you to do it now.
Let's do it. Oh, no. Have you watched it?
Hasn't been anywhere near any.
Well, don't bring it to me. I don't want to...
Hey, Rob, bring back memories. Right, I will do it, but I'll do it under the desk.
You're not going to get your...
Come on. Just one then. Meet me halfway.
Come on then.
Come on then. No. This is a real medical thing. Why did your sister get you in?
Because when I was younger, I was a very slight chap, not the
When you were younger,
fine
you were slight.
specimen of man.
Blimey,
before
what were you, a
today.
stick man?
And I used to have to go to a hospital to be measured in all sorts of creative and
Keep it light.
One of the ways they measured me was using an orchidometer. And
They measured your testicles with it.
yeah, not with that one.
What are you going to say?
With your testicle measuring device, you spoil us, Ambassador.
The question is whether his sister got it for him and not what this is.
His sister got it for him. He's telling the truth. Can you not? Am I?
But this can't be real.
Take those.
This can't be real.
Have a look at him through those. Tell him your sister gave you that as a present.
Have you got truth glasses? They're not allowed on this show.
Lee, it is time to take a guess.
Imagine going to the doctors and going, is that normal to have that many? Take a look at this, Doc. Tell me that's normal. They're purple and it's the wrong amount. OK, what do you think? I'm going to go with it. OK, then. Well, why not? It sounds true.
Saying true. OK, McKenzie, what's the answer?
It is true.
It was true. Mackenzie's sister did buy him that orchidometer. Mackenzie frequently brings it out at dinner parties and uses it as an icebreaker, and more often than not, a morale crusher. And at the end of that round, the scores are level. Our next round is called This Is Mine, where we bring on a mystery guest who's a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of David's team will claim that it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Simon. So, Mackenzie Crook, what is Simon to you?
This is Simon, and when I hoaxed my school by burying some treasure, Simon found it and the police were called.
OK, all right. Chris, how do you know Simon?
This is Simon. In a virtual world, we're married.
And finally, David Mitchell, your relationship with Simon.
This is Simon. He has a large tattoo of my face on his knee.
So there we have it. Is Simon Mackenzie's treasure hunter, Chris's cyber spouse, or David's tattooed fan? Lee's team, where would you like to start?
David.
Yes.
How do you know Simon?
I know him because when I was doing a book signing of a comedy book, he came and asked for the book to be signed and also asked me to sign my name underneath the tattoo of my face on his knee.
When you sign the face, is the face normal when the knee is stretched? Or is the face normal when it's not stretched?
Look, it's my face. It's not normal at all.
I need to ask you a question, but you've got to answer this honestly.
Yeah.
When
No,
the...
no,
you
I
don't.
don't.
That's the whole point of the game.
OK.
Otherwise we open with,
When the
is
people
it
from
true?
Would I Lie to You said, we're going to invite on that man who's got a tattoo of your face on his knee, did you say, oh, good, I'd like to see him again?
I'm, of course, thrilled to remake the acquaintance of yeah.
Simon! It's Simon!
Simon.
So I did something, just to digress a little bit. I once got, this is true, backstage after a gig, a woman asked me to sign her bosom. And I went to sign with the pen that she gave me, and the pen didn't work. And without thinking, I went to the other breast and went... It's awful! Mackenzie, how old were you when you buried this treasure?
Maybe 13 or 14.
So what was the treasure?
Diamonds.
What? Whoa. How many
That's got everyone's attention.
Diamonds. Fake diamonds. It was a hoax. So it was,
How many fake diamonds?
Probably 6.
Where did you get all the 6 fake diamonds?
From my sister's jewellery box.
What? And then you rang up the police and hoaxed them into coming down to find some fake diamonds?
No, they were... I put them in a tin, and they were dredging the school pond. So I knew if I placed it in the pond, it would be found.
And where did he fit into this?
Simon found the tin with the supposed diamonds and a letter that I'd faked.
What did it say on the letter?
It said something along the lines of, these are stolen, smuggled diamonds.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
that's
whoa, whoa, whoa. So you're telling me that diamonds were found with a letter, you go, these are smuggled diamonds,
Yeah.
and someone went, we better phone the police, this is genuine. Was there a punishment involved?
Nobody ever found out it was me. The police came back and said that they'd analysed the diamonds and they weren't diamonds, and it was obviously a hoax.
So they caught Ronnie Biggs, but they couldn't get you.
You happy to move on now?
Yeah. Chris, you're married in a virtual world. Tell us a little bit more about how you met Simon.
Second Life is a virtual world that exists on the internet, secondlife.com, and I'm one of the players. There are various roles that you can play. You invent an avatar for yourself.
And you are?
My avatar is Audrey Hepburn.
Is what?
Audrey Hepburn.
So you're playing the woman in this relationship?
Yes.
Why have you got a second life as a woman?
Well, part of the whole thing is that you can be whatever you want to be, and as I say, a lot of people take it...
Don't start singing I am what I am.
I thought, well, I'll change my personality. I'll be Audrey Hepburn, as the Audrey Hepburn happens to be one of my real-life heroines.
Right. And
couldn't do Hepburn because someone had already done it.
And what is Simon's avatar?
He is Simon Bernstein Jr.
Right, and where did you meet him in this virtual world?
Well, when you go on there, you can go to places and then you meet people. They contact
you. A bit like real life, but for
Can I
sad
ask you,
people.
So his name's Simon and his pretend name is Simon?
Yes, but his real name's Simon Morgan. Presumably, rather like Audrey Hepburn, he couldn't be Simon Morgan because someone had already done that. There were about 20 million people
No,
trying to
but
do
you're
this
not
thing.
Audrey Hepburn.
No, Helpburn.
Yeah, no, but you wanted it. Yes, but he is Simon Morgan, is what
It's like a psychiatrist coach. You are not Audrey Hepburn. I'm not going to tell you again. We went through this last week. You're not Audrey Hepburn. I still haven't established where you met Simon Bernstein Jr.
I met him at a cocktail party.
Yes?
I married him for his money. But I married...
I believe you, because when you said you married him for his money, do you see his face? He couldn't help it. When you said that...
No, that was the ink on his knees drying.
Right, what are you going to say, Lee? Who do you think it is?
This is a tricky one for me. Victoria, who is he connected with?
If this was a poker game and I had to make a call, I'd say Mackenzie's the one who's not bluffing.
You're going by body language.
Well, that's interesting. What is it about his body that tells you he's not bluffing it?
But he has a sort of calm...
I know for a fact
readiness
he's under
to-
heavy medication. I don't know if that's...
Looking at it from a different way, Simon is far too geeky for tattoos on his knees, but the avatar thing, I think, sounds just a bit too plausible. I think it's McKenzie.
Well, listen, Victoria's a top poker player. She knows body language better than anybody.
So you're saying that it's definitely Mackenzie Crook. You're saying that it's the buried treasure.
Yeah.
OK. Simon, would you like to reveal your true identity?
My name is Simon, and when we were at school together, I discovered Mackenzie's buried treasure.
Everything that Mackenzie said was absolutely true. Simon found the treasure Mackenzie buried at his school. And actually, we can show you the letter. Have a look at this. In this tin, I have placed stolen... You don't mind me doing it with an accent, do you? In this tin, I have placed stolen diamonds.
Are you going to do it with an accent?
I would never claim to have your range as an actor, David. Shall I do posh and repressed or repressed and posh? Well done. Now, thank you very much, Simon, for coming on. How about that? Which brings us on to our final round, Quickfire Lies, in which our panellists lie not only through their teeth, but against the clock. First up, it's... that's Lee.
I once helped my mum and dad look for something they'd lost using a Ouija board.
Was it a relative they'd lost?
David's team, do you believe that?
What was it that they'd lost?
They'd lost an important document.
OK, I don't want you to be more specific. Oh, actually, yes, be more specific.
A very important document. It was a document that...
it was a document?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay.
Did I mention how important it was?
You're going too quickly. It was a document. OK.
It was a document.
Did the document matter?
Oh, it was important, yes.
An important document. OK.
I can't stress upon you how important it was.
Yeah.
It was very important.
What was the important document?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I can't... I was only young, and I can't remember exactly...
I lost it.
It was something to do with a potential court case. I don't think it ever got to court, but they were worried that a thing...
Well, of course, they didn't have the document.
They were worried that something might go to court, and they knew if they found this document, it would mean that they were proved to be in the right about the case. I genuinely can't remember anything more about it. Can we concentrate on the world of the dead?
Did they get through to your grandmother? She went, where did you last see it? Retrace your steps.
Where did you get the Ouija board from?
I think one of the regulars, because we grew up in a pub.
One of the regular what?
We grew up in a pub, and before the invention of the internet, between 3 and 5, the pub closed, and you had to think of something to do.
Obviously dabble in the occult.
Dabble in the occult. And believe it or not, my mum and dad and all the regulars would have a little lock-in, and me and my brother were invited to do the Ouija board.
If only you'd had Jenga or something more wholesome. No. And did you hold hands?
No, that's a seance, don't be an idiot.
Sorry, I get my bullshit mixed up.
Yeah.
How did you ask the question?
I remember it. My dad said, "Spirit world, we have a very, 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 very... I can't stress upon you enough how important a document is that we must find."
Yeah.
And they told us where it was.
What did they spell out?
They spelt out in the attic.
So were your parents massively into the occult?
No, I mean, it wasn't a problem. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, it was just a bit of fun in the afternoon. And Ouija boards was cheeky in the 70s before these horror films.
Right.
Up until then, it was a Waddington's family game.
David, time
It
to...
used to be advertised after Mousetrap.
MB Ouija board. Picture
If you
all
don't
the
like
family
Mousetrap,
looking
try Ouija
freaked out.
board.
So, David, what's it going to be, truth or lie?
Well, I think...
True.
You think it's true?
I think it is. I think it's true.
I was not thinking it's true, but my team think it's true.
You're the captain,
I'll
David.
go with the team.
OK, you say true. Lee, what's the answer?
The answer is, it is in fact true.
Yes, it's true. Lee did once help his parents look for something they'd lost using a Ouija board. For those of you who don't know what a Ouija board is, it's like Scrabble for dead people. Next. It's Victoria.
If I ever get stuck on a crossword clue, I phone Tim Henman for help. He hasn't let me down yet.
Right.
I think that's a very cruel lie. He hasn't let me down yet. We all know what that's an allusion to. His repeated letting down of the entire nation. I think it's, tennis is difficult. And I'd just like to say I wouldn't necessarily have won Wimbledon. Obviously, if I'd practiced as much as Tim Henman, I'd bloody well expect to, but nevertheless. Right, so how do you know Tim Henman?
I met Tim Henman when he was promoting a sort of tennis academy thing, and I went and played tennis with him at Wimbledon.
Did you play at Wimbledon?
Yeah, I should say I was right about it. It wasn't just like, oh, Victoria Goran's got to come in and play.
You used to ring up Tim Henman to ask him difficult crossword things?
Yeah.
How did you get round that sensitive issue of going, 6 down?
So Tim Henman is particularly good at crosswords.
He's got to be good at something.
Once again, I would say that Tim Henman is relatively good at tennis. So he could almost be a professional.
Victoria, I'm curious, of all the people you meet in the course of your job, you choose a tennis player of sorts to advise you on crosswords.
He's very into crosswords.
So you're saying at this point in this clue I can't get, what we need is some of the skills that it takes to, choke during a tie-break.
You're turning against him now, aren't you?
Get your mind on which side of the fence are you on?
Yeah. How did the subject of crosswords come up when you were playing
I was doing a crossword while waiting for him. He was doing
to serve, to get one in.
That's why you kept losing.
I was doing a crossword, and he came in, and it was kind of a bonding thing because he said, I like crosswords, let me have a look.
What do you think, McKenzie? Do you think it's plausible?
I think it might be plausible, yeah. Cryptic or just regular?
Cryptic. Well, he's not an idiot. You don't bring someone. Oh yeah, it's got 3 letters. Household pet starts with D.
Cat.
McKenzie thinks it's plausible. Packham is saying...
I think it's sadly probably true.
Right, so you...
True.
Come on.
I don't have to think.
You're saying true? True. OK. So, Victoria...
You think I phoned Tim Henman to ask him the answer to the crossword, please? Obviously, that's a lie.
It's a lie. Victoria doesn't phone Tim Henman for help whenever she gets stuck on a crossword clue. Next. It's Rod.
Oh. I once paid for some tapas with a Nissan Micra.
David, tapas, Nissan Micra.
How much tapas were you buying?
1 meal's worth of tapas.
So what cash value of this tapas?
In the area of £15.
OK, why?
I didn't have any money.
But weren't you aware that a Nissan Micra, even in probably quite scruffy condition, would be worth a lot more than £15?
Yeah, but if you haven't got any money, all you've got is a Nissan Micra. What are you going to do?
I don't suppose I'd eat out in restaurants.
Well, drive home and have some toast.
I couldn't drive home. I sold my car for some tapas.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah. So did they accept the car in payment?
Yes.
How many of you were eating?
8.
8 of you sharing £15 worth of tapas?
I had £15 worth. We all had roughly, I suppose. Well, I don't know. I didn't check.
But you didn't offer... You didn't offer the Nissan Micra for everyone's meal. You said, well, I only had this, and this. The Nissan Micra's only covering that. You can pay for your own. I mean, that might have been the time to be a little bit, you know, a little bit generous. I am giving a car away here.
Did none of the others think that they might chip in to save your car?
Somebody did bail me out, so I had to pay them with my car. That's all I had. They said,
So,
I'll pay you all.
So it was one of your friends that you gave the car to, not the proprietors of the restaurant, then?
Well, obviously not, yeah.
Right, so one of your friends said, I'll give you the 15 quid.
I'll pay your share.
But you can't, like, owe it to me. You can't give it to me next week. I want something in exchange for it now. You looked in your pocket, I've got a handkerchief, I've got my shirt. It'll be embarrassing to take my shirt off, but it'll have to be the car.
I think what happened was, she said, I'll pay your share. I said, I've got nothing to give you, I can give you my car. And I don't think it occurred to her to say, no, don't do that, give me 15 quid next week.
I'll take the car, is what she said. What was the value of the car?
2,500 I paid for it.
And how long before the dinner?
I lost £2,485 on the deal. It was good tapas, it was nice. We had... I had albondigas. I had croquetas. Croquettes.
Don't patronise me.
And croquetas, and I had gambas a la plancha, grilled prawns.
No.
And then I threw in the floor mats for some patatas bravas.
Right, David, what do you think? Is he telling the truth?
I think not.
I'm sure.
But it's so sort of odd and weird, and I think it's a lie.
It's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
We're all saying it's a lie. OK. Rod, Gilbert, truth or lie?
It is a... true.
So, just to be clear, everything you just said was true.
Every word of it.
You are a moron.
And that noise signals time is up, and it's the end of the show, and I can tell you, well, what a shocker. Lee's team have won by 6 points to 4.
How did you do that?
But, of course, it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is McKenzie Crook. Yes, McKenzie Crook. I suppose the clue was in the name. Never trust anyone called McKenzie. Good night. Good evening, and welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show with a lust for lies. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a veteran comedian and writer who, after receiving his OBE, bantered with the Queen. One of the few occasions on which Victoria was amused. It's Barry Cryer.
Thank you.
And the star of BBC series Supersizers, who once had to eat the same sort of food that people lived on during World War II, when she went for lunch at Barry Cryer's house. It's Sue Perkins! And joining David Mitchell tonight, a comedian who left university with a degree in physics. I mean, God knows who it belonged to, but finders keepers, I say. Dara O'Brien! And a TV presenter who, for comic relief, took part in a gruelling trek across a bleak African desert. A journey she easily coped with, as she regularly gets the train from Dundee to London. It's Lorraine Kelly! And so we begin, as always, with round one. It's Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sift the truth from the lies. Dara starts us off tonight. Dara, off you go.
OK. On doctor's advice, I have to sleep in a cycle helmet due to the violent nature of my dreams.
Well, Lee, where to begin?
Tell us about the violent nature of your dreams.
Yes. I move a lot within the dreams. They're active rather than like hack and slash movie type violent. They're more, I'm playing a match or I'm running or something. And I move a lot in the bed.
Dara, what damage can you do to yourself with a pillow?
Well, it's only a pillow can get around, but I can snap. I can, it can go back quite violently. Like, I can recoil.
What does your wife think? Do you share a bed?
I do share a bed, yes.
When did the doctor prescribe the helmet?
It was during my teenage years. It was late teens, whatever, that stage that it began to...
That is the age when you start tossing and turning.
Yes.
I'm not having that. If I can't make an innocent comment, please, this isn't Never Mind Your Buzzcocks. I dreamt, this is true, I dreamt the other night that I was being spooned, I was the spoonee, with a lion. Seriously, and I could feel its big, hairy arms and its legs, well, they're all legs, aren't they? All legs around me, and I could feel it, and I could smell it, and it was so vivid, and I liked it. So the last thing I would have done is lash out because I was feared for my life.
Yeah, but I didn't have that dream.
You feared for your life and you liked it.
It was a lion!
I thought when you said you liked it, you must have in some way thought you were safe with this lion. But it was actually the fear that you liked.
We've all had experiences in bed, David, where we are simultaneously afraid and excited.
So, Dara, back to the image.
Yeah.
What do you wear in bed?
Other than that?
Yeah.
Pyjamas and a T-shirt.
It's a lovely look.
The pyjama with the jacket. I don't wear the jacket, though.
It's ridiculous.
Unnecessarily
As if you wear a
formal,
blazer in bed, it would clash with your cycle helmet.
It is odd, isn't it, the way pyjamas have a collar that could take a tie.
Back to the cycle helmet.
Petr Cech, the goalkeeper for Chelsea, right?
You better explain to David who he is.
There's a footballer called Petr Cech who got kicked in the head once, right? Okay,
the goalkeeper's the one that owns the club, right?
Get him, yeah. Anyway, got kicked in the head, and he wears a kind of a padded head. It's very similar to that, like, because, and if you've had a previous head injury, and I had if you've had a knock in the past...
What was your previous head injury?
I literally fell off a bike when I was a teenager. I went off a bike and...
How ironic they make you wear a cycle helmet to remind you of that terrible, terrible day.
When did you start wearing the cycle helmet in bed?
That was when I was 16.
So you've been wearing it in bed since you were 16?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
39.
So obviously on your honeymoon night you wore it, did you?
She was used to that. She'd seen it, yeah.
So every night?
I've heard of
safe
sex.
During sex? During sex are you wearing it? Because then you're really thrashing around, aren't you?
Do you presume that there's no gap between the end of sex and sleep that I couldn't then go, oh, that was magic?
You know what? That, to me, is more disturbing. To be able to go, that was marvellous, Dick. What the hell are you putting on your head?
Right, Lee, it's time to take a guess.
Well,
what do you think?
If he's not telling the truth, he's made life very hard for himself because he didn't have to say he was doing it for 23 years.
how long have you known him for?
I never slept with him.
No.
Oh, it's lie.
So it's a lie. So, Dara, are you telling the truth or was it a lie?
That scar that goes from there to there? Huh? Yeah? Nah, it's a lie.
It's a lie. Dara wasn't advised to sleep in a cycle helmet because of the violent nature of his dreams. Lorraine, you're up next.
I once presented an episode of TVAM whilst drunk.
I don't think we need to discuss this anymore.
OK. What time do you start work on TVM?
In those days, I would be getting up about 3 o'clock.
So you're waking up at 3, so...
Are you still hammered from the night before, or are you topping up at 3?
If you're waking up sober, this is a tragic story.
This is a great story.
No, it was only the once.
What happened the night before, or the...
No, I went for lunch.
A long lunch?
About 12... Well, aye.
Well, aye.
What time does the lunch start?
About 12:30.
OK. What time did you finish drinking?
About 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock in the morning? So you've drunk all the way through till 3 o'clock in the morning?
That's a big lunch.
But hang on, that's your wake-up time, isn't it? Yeah. So you've not slept? It was an all-nighter? Yeah. So you at 3 o'clock, you're drinking from 12 till 3 in the morning, and you go to work now, lads. See you later, I'm on telly.
Lorraine Kelly.
Yes.
Who were you with?
Who was I with? I was celebrating with John Hannah, the actor.
John Hannah, the actor?
Because John...
stop the clocks.
Exactly. And we kind of did. And all of his friends. And he was celebrating the fact that he'd got the part in 4 Weddings.
Was he really? Isn't that... Well, I hope this is true now, because that's a lovely story.
I know.
And you went drinking...
It's a sort of lovely story that she turned up drunk on air after a 19-hour drinking session. It's quite heartwarming.
But I could have phoned in not well. I could have phoned in and said...
Oh, yeah, we appreciate you're a professional.
Thank you.
What might we have noticed about Lorraine Kelly that morning?
Oh, no. Absolutely.
Did you have your top on?
I did. Nobody would ever have known. Nobody did know.
But when you say drunk, it sounds like... I mean, drunk's a big word.
Yeah.
You know that way you can drink yourself sober?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You're that kind of woman. But you can drink yourself sober. You can actually...
I don't think you can.
You
by the
can.
way. I don't think you can, kids.
No, she's right.
What do they say about...
do you know what Lorraine Kelly's just said on television?
You can't drink yourself slow.
Yes, you can. You're right, Lorraine.
Thank you, Barry. You can.
Yeah, you're right.
So, Lee's team, what do you think?
What do we think, Barry? Is this true or a lie?
I'm an old-fashioned gent. I'm sorry to say, I think it's true. Sorry, Lorraine.
Do you think it's true?
I think so, yeah.
OK, we'll say it's true.
You're saying it's true. Lorraine?
Shaking her head.
As if I would do such a thing as that. It's true.
Yes, it's true. Lorraine did once present an episode of TVAM drunk. Yes, it's astonishing, isn't it? Only once. I mean, that's nothing. I once got so drunk I watched an episode of TVAM. Barry?
I have written and had published a trilogy of romantic novels under a female pen name.
Ooh.
OK. What's the female pen name, Barry?
Mary Windsor.
Mary Windsor.
Mary Windsor?
Yeah.
And at what stage in your career was this?
Early. I'd written, done one book of anecdotes, and the publisher said they fancied doing a sort of Barbara Cartland, you know, a sort of one of those.
Oh, were the anecdotes particularly romantic in your book?
No, not originally. I don't know why they chose me, but I went for it, and I got away with 3 of them, which didn't sell. Obviously, nobody's heard of them. But
were they linked, by the way? Was it a trilogy, or were they, was it the same story?
No, there were 3 separate stories.
Great. So that's all 3 plots, please, off the cuff.
Yes.
Let's go for book number 1.
Yes, book number 1 was a shameless rip-off of Lady Chatterley's Lover. It was about a guy who worked on the estate and the lady of the manor. It was just blatant.
And what was it called, Barry? What was the title of that one?
my land. It was a quotation from the lady of the manor who said it at a crucial point in the plot.
Oh, how crucial?
On their first falling out. They become lovers, and then it became very tense and something, and then she became very autocratic with him. And it was a very moving moment, if I say so myself.
And book 2?
Book 2 was set in Spain, and a bullfighter was involved.
All right.
The same plot, I'm not kidding you.
Was book 2 called My Bull?
I'm ashamed to say it was called Hasta la Vista.
OK.
I wish you wouldn't go on about this. I'm not proud of them.
I think I want to read them.
Yeah.
And book 3?
1 year, it was called.
1 year?
1 year.
You didn't go overboard in the titles.
No, simple, self-explanatory titles.
What was the plot of book 3?
The plot of book 3 was on board a liner.
Right. On board a liner.
My liner.
This posh, frustrated woman went on a liner and met the steward.
Why did they stop this? This is gold!
Which one, now that you look back, Barry, with the wisdom that you've accrued over the years...
Yes.
Which one are you proudest of?
The third one, because I was starting to get the hang of it.
The publishers disagreed. They thought you were losing what hang of it you'd ever had.
Yes. What are you thinking, David Steen?
What do you think, Lorraine?
Oh, no. You know, I just don't see Barry having the time to do it. And
I could write those drunk in the morning.
No, we think it's a lie, don't we? It's probably a lie, yeah.
Think it's a lie? Mm-hmm. Barry Cryer, truth or lie?
Dramatic pause. Music is heard in the background. It was a lie.
It's a lie. Barry hasn't written a trilogy of romantic novels under a female pen name. I love romantic fiction. And the new Jilly Cooper book features a highly sexed woman who makes love in the strangest of places. It's on the shelves Monday, hanging from a chandelier Tuesday, on top of the wardrobe Wednesday. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. So please welcome this week's special guest, Rod. So, Barry, first of all, what is Rod to you?
This is Rod. He drives my favourite bus, and whenever I see it, I shout, "Hello, darling!"
Sue, how do you know Rod?
This is lovely Rod, who's my local butcher, and when I won Maestro, he had a whole pig in the window, and he stuck my face on its face, and he put a little conducting baton in its trotters to celebrate.
And finally, Lee, your relationship with Rod?
This is Rod, and after we accidentally took each other's baggage from the carousel, I ended up having to wear his clothes for 3 days on holiday.
So there we have it. Barry's bus driver, Sue's creative butcher, or Lee's unlucky holiday goer. David, off we go.
So your local butcher...
Yes.
You got to know him quite well before you were sort of represented in pig form.
For about 7 years, off and on.
And is this like a posh butcher's, basically?
Well, no. What do you mean by posh
Well,
butcher?
I basically think going to a butcher's is quite posh.
Yeah.
On the basis that most people buy meat at supermarkets, don't they?
Well, no, the butcher's en route to the tube, so I've always gone... And
So we need some meat to gnaw on the tube.
That's
where you're...
Basically, it's on that route, so I always say hello, and there's 3 of them that work there, of which Rod's one. And also, I've got dogs, so they always give me bones for the dogs.
So this is sort of a 1950s idyll.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, sir.
Sue, this was done, so you say, in honour of the programme Maestro. Now, just tell us what that was.
This is a programme where you learn how to be an orchestral conductor.
And so where did they hit the leap going, an orchestral conductor?
A pig?
But to be fair, when you say why on a pig, I mean, he is a butcher. He's not...
Yeah,
he's not,
exactly.
He can't
That's
say,
his
should we put it
medium.
on the face of the pig or the dead body of Andre Previn?
How was your face done? Was it like a colour printout?
Yeah, like something they've got off the internet. So it's quite pixelated.
Not pixelated. I think you mean low resolution.
That's what I mean. Not like
Otherwise, it would
smiley
be
face.
people
Yeah.
would sort of go, oh, "That's clearly the pixelated face of Sue Perkins on there." Moving on to what number bus is it, Barry?
H14, Hatch End to Norfolk Park Hospital.
Right.
And in reverse. No, he doesn't drive in reverse. And I don't shout "hello, darling" at Rod. Nothing personal, Rod. I shout it at the bus because it's my friend.
You shout it when the H14 drives past. So when you're planning to get on it,
yes.
Then at what point do you shout "hello, darling"?
I'm a creature of whim. It might be early, it might be late, it might be when I'm getting on. I want to vary it.
Do you add "I'm coming in, darling"?
No, there's no foreplay.
Right. Well,
David, what about Lee's plane?
So where were you going on holiday?
Thailand.
Right.
Me and Rod have got our bags mixed up on the carousel, and so as a result of that, I had to wear his clothes for 3 days.
Where did you fly to? Bangkok?
Flew to Bangkok, yeah.
Right. You didn't have proper labels on your case?
Absolutely
Well,
correct.
that was very remiss.
Well, it was a remiss.
Ooh.
It was Lorraine,
Say
it was
that again.
remiss, or I'm lying.
Aye.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
In which case, it wasn't remiss.
Okay.
Just to clarify, Lee, are you still saying this is true, or has the very suggestion that you might be remiss made you abandon any attempt at playing this game?
I will not be.
I'm not going to be called remiss. Okay, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. I'm not a fool. I actually label my luggage very carefully, and I think that's very important. But I'm not for a moment going to pretend otherwise.
What sort of case? What kind of case was it?
It was actually leopard skin. Oh, not leopard skin, as in that was.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was patterned
plastic,
case.
but it had the.
Really?
No, blokes don't have leopard
You're right.
skin.
No, it's my wife. My wife's.
But
saying the
Rod's
idea.
a proper bloke. I mean, I could
so
believe...
am I, Lorraine.
No, I
Thank
could
you very
believe...
much.
No, I know, but you're kind of showbiz, and I could believe you had a leopard
Kind of showbiz.
skin.
How about I am showbiz?
I don't think Rod would
Remiss,
have...
kind of showbiz. I'm really coming for you,
Not a proper man.
What bombs? Hang on. So there are two men of exact same build, both travelling to Bangkok on the same flight with leopard skin suitcases. People swap bags all the time, right? But they bring them back to the airport, or they get somebody at the hotel to bring them back to the airport, and they buy replacement clothes.
That's
They
right.
don't go, I will now assume the identity.
To be honest, though, it's the rules of the game. I wasn't in Bangkok. I had to fly again from Bangkok to a place called Krabi, and then we got on a boat to an island resort.
Yeah.
So it was a long way back to Bangkok.
So you didn't open your case until you got to your final destination?
Yes.
What were Rod's clothes like? Were you happy to wear them, and did they fit you, and were they okay?
I think you can look at Rod. You can see he's a stylish man. His wigs weren't great, but let's say some of the things I wouldn't have worn. For example, his bus conductor's outfit. Wouldn't have worn that. And as for his butcher's outfit, well...
What are you thinking, David? I mean, it's a tricky one, I think, this week.
I think it's Sue.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's probably Sue. but
Do you? I think it's Lee.
You think it's
You think
Lee?
it's Lee?
Lorraine, can I just say, even I don't think
No, it's 2 against 1. You should go first.
We're going to go for
Yeah,
OK, we'll
definitely.
think
We're gonna
it's
go for
Sue. Yeah.
Right, Rod, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Rod, and I'm Barry's H14 driver.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rod. Time now for some high-speed lying in our final round, Quickfire lies. Our panellists don't know whether they're about to read out a true fact about themselves or a made-up lie they've never seen before. David is currently behind, so really has to work hard to grab some extra points if they want to win. We will start with... Yeah, oh, David.
Possession.
Right, well, you know the form. There's a
This could
box
be
on the
anything.
desk.
Could be.
Take out the object first and show us that, and then read out the card, please.
Stop! It's true! It's true! Move on! You don't even need to hear it.
This is my bear tablecloth. Customs officers once cut his head off and searched him for smuggled goods.
Can we see? Is there proof? Let me
Yes,
see.
as you
Is
can
there
see.
Is there any way of telling?
There's some stitching there.
Oh, just tilt his chin up then so we can see the stitching.
let's have a
Not too
look.
much, I'm going to upset him. All right.
Can we have a look at the burr?
Yes, of
We'll
course
see
you
the
can have bear,
stitches.
yeah.
Throw him over it violently.
No, don't
I couldn't possibly.
Come on, he's been decapitated. He's seen worse.
You can't throw the bear. That'd be a shame.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Sorry, I meant you to pass it to Rob. I've now, made you do the whole journey. Take the bear over there, please, Lorraine. It's in my contract. I never leave the desk.
David, just look at me. Right.
I didn't...
How's this making you feel?
That's terrible.
Oh, no.
That's really terrible.
Isn't it awful?
So he feels.
Really is.
He's had his head cut off and his thing ripped open. That's not possibly upsetting.
Dave, why did you call this bear tablecloth?
Yes.
Because when I was very little, he had a little jacket made out of a tablecloth.
So
If this turns out to be a lie, you are a shameless little light entertainer.
Coming from you, Lee, that is a compliment.
Where was the customs? Where were we going from or to? Or?
We were going back from Minorca.
What did they say they were looking for?
I imagine it was a sort of a spot check.
Did you see them carving the head off? Was it happening in front of you on the table, on the...
No, I'm glad to say I was shielded from that moment.
David, I'm going off this story.
You heartless bastard. Sorry, tablecloth. What? Do it to him.
Yeah,
Smash his face
Give
on.
me the bear.
Oh,
I'm taking the bear into care.
You're about to do an appeal.
Was there any reason why they didn't check the arms and legs?
Yeah. I don't know. I should have asked them to. I should have said, call that thorough.
What's that?
I'd have done this before.
Yeah. What's that you say? You say it's time for Lee's team to take a guess? All right. What do you think?
Maybe he's in denial, and the truth is he, as an adult, was searched for drugs, and he's so traumatised by what they did to him.
Yeah.
He's had to create a teddy bear and put it all onto him.
Yeah. Show us on the teddy bear what they did to the customer.
Show us on the teddy bear where they shoved their fist.
That's why the bear's hands are like that.
OK, we can say lie, are we, Sue?
I think so.
Lie.
I think
OK.
so.
I don't think I can argue
Lie.
with that. So lie,
OK,
right?
David.
Well, it is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. David's teddy bear didn't have his head cut off by customs officers as they searched for smuggled goods. Now, when I was a rebellious young man, I once stuck 2 fingers up to a customs officer who pulled me aside, put on a rubber glove and returned the favour. Next. It's Lee. Lee's go.
Possession.
All right, box under the desk, Lee. I'd like you to read the card first and then show us what's in there, Lee.
I spent an entire year in a plastic work class at school, and this is the only thing I managed to make.
Plastic work? What is it? What is it?
I don't know. Can we have a look?
Can you bring
Lee,
it up?
what is that, though?
Thank you. It's shit.
You bastard, and I treated your teddy bear with such respect.
What is it, though?
Ironically, it's a luggage tag.
Is it a luggage tag?
It's Keyring.
It's a Keyring,
Oh, is it a keyring? What is it?
Are you a big sports fan, eh?
I do follow football.
Yeah, which team do you follow?
I follow Blackburn Rovers.
Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn doesn't begin with an L, does it? What was the LFC?
It was Liberace for Chancellor. It stands for Liverpool Football Club.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Why did you make a Liverpool Football Club keyring
because it
in
was
plastic work?
Because they didn't have blue and white plastic, Blackburn Rovers. They only had red plastic. So I thought, well, I'll give it the Liverpool Football Club because it's red.
Right.
When did you do it? What age were you when you did that? Was it at school then?
No, it was in Broadmoor.
You say it took you a year?
No, a year.
I mean, I've never heard of plastic work.
I know. Well, the thing is, in 1982, plastic was the future.
Well, no, I don't in any way disparage plastic. That's fine. I like plastic. Plastic's very useful. But a class at school
called plastic
doing
work.
for plastic work.
How did you cut it? What did you
not
use?
like that.
I don't think you're in any position to get all haughty about your plastic cutting technique if this is the only evidence we have.
I must say, I don't believe this, but I'd love to know what this object is, who made it and why. But we think it's a lie.
A lie.
Totally.
Think it's a lie. OK, they say it's a lie. Lee, is it a truth or is it a lie?
It is, in fact, true. Plastic work. That was a lesson that never caught on. Plastic work.
Plastic work.
Does anyone else do plastic work?
Did you get marked on that? Was that
Yes, I
submitted
did
for
get marked.
examination?
What was your grade?
I got a 2-1 and we went straight to Oxford. What do you think?
Yes, it's true. And I don't know exactly what LFC stands for, but I'm guessing the first word is lazy. And that noise signals time is up, and it's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team have a pathetic 3 points, and Lee's team has trounced home with 8. But of course, it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is Barry Cryer. Yes, Barry Cryer, who hasn't lied so much since he typed the words new material at the top of a page of jokes. Good night. Oh, yes. Good evening, and welcome to a very special edition of previously unseen clips from this series of Would I Lie to You? On David Mitchell's team tonight, McKenzie Crook, Frank Skinner, Catherine Parkinson, Dara O'Brien, Lorraine Kelly, Bill Oddie, David O'Doherty, Rebecca Front and Jack Whitehall. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, Miranda Hart, Rod Gilbert, Nick Hewer, Sarah Milliken, Louis Spence, Bill Turnbull, Victoria Corrin, Barry Cryer and Sue Perkins. And so to Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them to make things harder. They've never seen the card before, and they've got no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. And McKenzie, you're up first.
When I won the Pirates of the Caribbean Sandcastle competition, Keith Richards was so angry he stamped on my drawbridge and threw Johnny Depp's bucket in the sea.
This is delicious.
Where do we start?
Lee, what do you think?
The competition was what, at the end of the filming of the whole thing, or...?
It wasn't at the end, it was during one of the films. I think it was the second one we were...
Right.
Yeah.
Why was Keith Richards there?
Keith Richards played...
Why was Keith Richards there?
Oh, was he in it?
Did you go to the cinema?
I don't really watch TV or go to cinemas. I'm struggling to recognise anyone round here, to be honest.
Well, imagine how we feel. I thought the Chuckle Brothers had split up. Do you have any connection with popular culture?
None whatsoever. Big fan of yours, though.
Oh, don't applaud it.
So your sandcastle, why was your sandcastle so good?
I'm just particularly good at making sand castles, sand sculptures. It's one of my... Some people say it's a superpower.
Well, it isn't really, is it?
No, it's not really.
A burning building! There's a child trap! Don't worry, I'll make a dolphin.
Had Keith Richards made a sandcastle?
I think he'd attempted one. He wasn't in the best of health.
If Keith Richards hadn't had a proper go at the sandcastle because he didn't really care, why was he so angry that you'd won?
I think because I'd trumped Johnny Depp and they're very good friends and...
No, he threw Johnny Depp's bucket in the sea.
He was just furious.
He didn't know whose bucket it was. He went so mental he threw somebody's bucket without knowing whose it was.
Can you describe Keith Richards' sandcastle?
It was basically a mound.
Did he try to snort it?
And what beach was this?
This was on a beach in St Vincent in the Grenadines.
Was it a completely empty beach? There was nobody playing on it?
We were on...
Sandcastle Beach?
We were on, like...
Sorry, can I just interrupt? If there's a beach with Johnny Depp and Keith Richards making sandcastles, it's not an empty beach anymore. That's going to attract tourism.
I doubt they were having to film amongst holidaymakers. I've not seen in Pirates of the Caribbean families, you know, carrying kids into the sea. You are in Captain Jack Sparrow. Sorry, mind you go there, kiddie. Put Factor 24 on there.
How far out was the sea from where you were making the sandcastles?
Gosh, 50 yards.
And how? And Richards made it all the way down to the sea with Depp's bucket.
I reckon he ran 10 of those yards and lobbed the rest.
He lobbed a plastic bucket 40 yards.
I think you've heard enough. What do you reckon? Is he telling the truth?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Do you think he did it? You think it's a lie?
No.
I think he did it.
So you think he did? Do you think the story is true in
I think the story is true in its basic form.
Right. Well, that's pretty much what we need.
That's the game, yeah.
So come on then, Lee. Truth or lie?
Right. I'm going to go with Rod and say it's true.
You say it's true.
Yes.
OK. Mackenzie Crook, star of Pirates of the Caribbean. Is it the truth or is it a lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a big lie. Mackenzie didn't upset Keith Richards by winning the Pirates of the Caribbean Sandcastle competition. The cast actually used to pass time on the set by drinking lots of beer and then urinating their name into the sand. A competition that was amazingly won by Keira Knightley. Miranda, you're next. Off you go.
Last year, whilst house-sitting for friends, I had to shout for help for 2 hours when I got stuck in their children's Wendy house.
David, what do you think of that?
Right, so where was the Wendy house?
In their garden.
Was there bait in the Wendy house?
There was cake and I had to have it. I actually thought this looks fun, I'm going to go and have a little look.
You were supposed to be looking after the children?
No, I was house-sitting.
Oh, you're house-sitting,
yes.
right?
The Wendy house specifically, or the actual house?
The actual house.
Oh, the actual house.
What was it made of?
Wooden structure.
It was a shed. A wooden structure in a garden is called a shed, not a Wendy.
It was smaller than a shed. It was a little house made of wood.
So it looks very inviting. You open a little door, crawl in, then what happens?
Then I shut the door and think, oh, this will be fun.
Right.
I know I'm going across a bit weird now. I go to the little door and there's one of those latchy things which doesn't work. And then, so I think, well, I'll just push it. And you see, it got stuck to the concrete on the bottom.
Right.
And I could not push it.
Well, that's quite sad.
So it was...
It was a very...
You're like a very posh Chilean miner.
So what? So you shouted for 2 hours?
Yeah.
What did you shout?
Help me!
I think she shouted. Recipes?
Who saved you in the end?
The neighbours.
And how did they manage to open the door?
They got a little saw and sawed around the latchy bit.
It's an episode of Tom and Jerry.
How do you do that? How do you get a saw in there?
It was one of those ones.
Jigsaw. Yeah, that's a jigsaw.
Okay. So it has a thing that initially penetrates and then cuts laterally.
There is...
Jigsaw. Have you ever thought of advertising for B&Q? You'd be the perfect voice. Are you looking for something that does that, then penetrates laterally? B&Q.
Which way are you leaning on this?
So are we leaning towards a lie?
Yeah, but I slightly wanted to be true because I think it's a funny image of Miranda being stuck screaming in a Wendy house.
I'm not buying it, I'm afraid.
Let's say it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. OK, Miranda, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Very well, though. I thought that was impossible. Bill, you're up next.
I have drunk rum from a human skull.
David's team, what do you think?
That must have been a dark moment.
I was in Haiti.
Right.
And I was working and the opportunity presented itself.
I don't think we need to ask any more. How did the opportunity present itself?
I was attending a voodoo ceremony in the middle of the night.
Right.
Best time for a voodoo ceremony. Those 10 o'clock brunch ones are rubbish.
Were you covering the...
Was this work-related?
Yes.
Work-related, yes, it was, yes.
Where was it held?
In Haiti.
Where specifically?
Where they practice voodoo.
Yeah, in a conference centre?
It was out in the countryside.
Right.
In a little shed thing.
Right.
And they passed around this skull.
Yeah.
It wasn't the whole skull that was full. It was the top had come off. They poured rum in it, and then they all took a drink from it, and they asked me to drink from it as well.
Oh. How did you know that this sort of grey...
How did I know it was a skull?
Yeah.
Someone told me afterwards. I thought it was a coconut at the time.
Right.
Did it have hair on the... Did it have hair coming out of it?
What? Like a coconut. Like a coconut. He said he thought it was a coconut. There are two hard, round things that have hair on them. Human heads and coconuts.
Yes, the hair.
That's the point.
Not the skull. The skull doesn't have bloody hair on it.
The cranium. I think it's possible I've seen hair on a pork scratching. It gets passed round, you take a sip from the weird grey saucer, it gets passed on, the voodoo ceremony ends, you head back. Who tapped you on the shoulder and went, I'll tell you what you just drank out of, mate?
Was it the bloke with his brain showing?
I was there, actually, to do an interview with a zombie.
Right.
You met the zombie?
Yes.
When you say zombie,
yes.
What do you mean?
What is a zombie?
Well, a zombie is somebody in the hinterland between life and death, you idiot. Evidently wasn't that.
Can I just say your hosting position is getting a bit aggressive?
What do you mean by a zombie, Bill?
They said he was a zombie.
Oh, right.
They brought him in and they said, now you can do an interview with him.
But that's not right.
Did you mic the zombie?
So what are you thinking, David? Is Bill telling the truth or is he lying to us? What do you think?
Catherine, what do you think?
I think it's so mental and ludicrous. I don't think it's true.
Insane. I'm going to say that is not true.
In which case we're going to say we think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? OK, Bill Turnbull. Truth or lie?
What do you say? Insane, ludicrous, and true.
Rebecca.
Right. OK. I have vomited in Cliff Richard's hedge.
Now, can I just be very clear about this? I don't know about you, but I'm terrible with euphemisms. Was it his front hedge or his back hedge?
Lee, please, Lee.
It was the hedge
inside a Wendy house.
The pavement. The front.
Where is this house?
I think it was Surrey.
You think drunk, were you?
No, I was very, very young at the time. This kind of explains the vomiting.
How old were you?
Young. I think I was about 5 or 6.
How did you know it was Cliff Richard's house?
Yeah.
Because I
He came out and said congratulations.
I had been taken to see this house because it was Cliff Richard's house.
Oh, you were taken as like a day out?
Yeah, because I was a big fan at the time.
Was it a revulsion or something you had eaten?
Car sickness.
Car sickness?
Yeah.
What was the plan when you were getting there?
It was a drive-by,
Just
almost.
him? Don't you...
Drive-by puking. Drive-by puking.
Drive-by vomit.
Presumably there was a lot of other vomit in the hedge. It was sort of proper matted with the vomit of admirers.
Probably.
Was Cliff in the house going, oh, 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 oh. What's... I'm doing Cliff Richard.
Very important.
You never want to say the phrase, I'm doing Cliff Richard. Never say that one. Especially if you're doing that with your hands. I'm doing Cliff Richard. I'm doing Cliff
Such fun.
Did you just say such fun?
Yes, I did. So, what do we think, Lee?
OK, well, shall we say true, Nick?
I think so. It's a dismal little story.
You know what? Can I just say, you really should have your own chat show. You'd be
So, Lee, you are saying that it's true, yeah?
We'll say it's true.
You're going to say it's true. OK, Rebecca Front, is it true or is it a lie?
It is true.
Yes, Rebecca did once vomit in Cliff Richard's hedge. Cliff, on the other hand, has never been made to feel nauseous by a bush of any kind. And we'd like to thank our lawyers for the wording on that one. Sarah Milliken, you're next.
I once ruined a christening party when I was overheard calling the baby ugly on a baby monitor.
David.
So the baby monitor, presumably, is by the baby.
Yes.
So most of the party is in, let's call it room A.
Okay.
And the baby...
How big is your house?
Is...
Room Z.
We'd never speak of room Z. And the baby is in room B, very appropriately in room B.
B for baby, yes.
So you're looking over the baby
Yes.
on your own?
No, a few of us had gone into, you know, you're supposed to sort of
You're
go in
supposed to
and,
give a shit,
and have
aren't
it,
you?
yeah. You know, everybody was looking at it and saying how lovely it was, and it just, you know, looked like a Winston Churchill, like they all do when they're born, you know, just little and sort of fat. So I just, you know,
What did
spoke
you
up.
say?
I just said, wasn't very pretty.
What sort of monitor was it, Sarah? Was it an audio monitor? Because we recently invested in a video and audio monitor, and if there are any young parents like myself out there, then then I would recommend getting the video because you can see them as well. It's lovely.
No, nobody's got
Isn't that a lovely
problem.
image, Rob's wife, putting him in the cot like that?
It's just, it gives her peace of mind. She knows I'm safe.
I went on holiday with a couple, and they had a walkie-talkie on the dinner table in the evening, and they said, I said, what is that? They said, we use this as a baby monitor because they've got a much better range
But don't the
than a
babies have
baby
to?
monitor.
Wouldn't the baby have to press it down to talk into it?
Yeah, it sort of went, over.
David, what's it going to be, truth or lie?
I would say that saying that basically what you were saying is, oh, babies all look the same to me, they look sort of baby-like, I don't find them that pretty.
Yes.
That's not that rude a thing to say. Saying specifically that baby is hideous, what with its third eye and everything, that's different.
That wouldn't have been shocking because everybody else would have noticed the third eye as well.
Yeah, but they might have
presumably.
tried to be nice about it and say, oh, what a lovely extra feature. Frank?
Well, I sort of believe it.
Yeah, no, it's easily done.
I think we think it's true then.
You think it's true?
Yeah.
Sarah, were you telling the truth?
It is a lie.
Nick, you're next.
Possession.
Ah, right. There's a box. If you just pick that up, bring it up to the desk there. And would you read, there's a card in there. I'd like you to read the card first and then reach back in and take out the possession.
Right, okay. This is a hat from my hat collection. I wear one whenever I throw a dinner party.
Okay, now take out the possession, the hat.
Please be a fez.
Wow, let's see.
There we are, how's that?
Wow.
You should wear that in the boardroom. That would be terrifying.
Right, just pop it down there. So, David's team, what do you think?
What sort of hat is that, Nick?
That hat is the hat of a Kazakhstan border guard.
Can we have a look at it?
Yes.
Lee,
What?
it's his hat. It's a hat.
Oh, yes, it's his hat, isn't it?
Thank you.
I would love to see you wearing that hat, David.
Well, I'd be very proud to wear it. It's a bit small for me.
Very fetching, though. Would you like to tell us how you came by this?
Yes.
Then
I
please
happened
do.
to be dawdling my way through Kazakhstan. And on my way out of Kazakhstan, I thought it would be sad to leave that great country without a souvenir.
Did this belong to a border guard? Did you?
I'm going to let that one pass.
Is that what you said as you walked through?
Are you implying that you stole it?
I'm not really. I'm pleading the fifth on that one.
Now, can you tell me something about your hat parties?
Yes.
What happens at these hat parties?
Wherever I go, I try and pick up a national hat. So I have one from Kyrgyzstan, from Mongolia, from Kazakhstan, from Russia.
So you have a whole assortment of ridiculous military hats.
I keep them on a beam on my house, and we have all the different hats up there. And when dinner parties get rowdy, we put our hats on.
Wow.
I want to go to that party.
Yeah. Is everyone allowed to wear these hats, or is it just you and
No,
Mrs. Nick?
everybody's got to pick their hats, and then sometimes during dinner we change them around.
Wild.
How do you swap the hats around? Like keys in a bowl sort of thing?
No, you just... Oh, may I have a go with yours?
I think it's very much like the keys in the bowl.
David, I'd like you to take a guess now, please.
I think this is true.
You think it's true? OK. Nick, is it true or is it a lie? True. And here's a picture of Nick in another of his favourite hats. Isn't that nice? Yes, it's true. That is a hat from Nick's hat collection that he wears at dinner parties. At one of Nick's dinner parties ended up in a food fight. Margaret Mountford got a face full of sugar, and when Lady Sugar found out, she started a food fight. Catherine, you're up next.
Me and my husband have a fake laugh that we do at parties to signal when it's time to leave.
Oh, fantastic.
Lee, fake laughs, what do you know about those?
Well, I know she's been doing it quite a lot tonight. I have to go. That's nice. Do that again.
Is that it? What about just saying, "Can we leave now, darling"? That was, "Can we leave now, darling"?
So just put us through this scenario then. You're both having the same conversation at the party with somebody else.
And when one of us wants to go home, we will just laugh in a certain way.
And does your husband do the same laugh as you, or has he got his own version?
No, he's got his own version. His
What's
voice
his?
is deeper than mine.
Same thing, but deeper?
Yes.
Like, for instance?
Do his laugh.
Sort of it's sort of...
Give me your laugh again, because I didn't quite hear it.
Okay.
This is Catherine's laugh.
Yeah.
And now the husband's laugh?
Well, I'm not so good at doing that, which, you know...
Do the husband's laugh.
I feel like you're mocking me.
No, I'm threatening you. And your laugh again? And then his laugh? OK.
What was your laugh like again? And his laugh? When's the last time you did it?
Yes.
I think we did it about 2 weeks ago at
Who are you talking to?
This.
I'd rather not say on
this might be
television.
all-
Is it a television
Yeah.
person? Is it someone famous?
No.
Well,
but-
still, but it's just no. It's not someone famous. It's someone who loves being insulted on television.
So, Lee, let's go for a guess.
Should we say it's true? Is that what we're saying?
I think that, but I'm going with you.
You're trusting me, aren't you?
I'll trust you.
Trust.
I don't know why, but I will.
Go on, true?
You're saying true. OK. Catherine, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Oh!
Yes, it's a lie. Catherine and her husband don't have a fake laugh that they do at parties to signal when it's time to leave. When they're bored stiff at a party, they say, "Thanks for having us, Rob, but we'd better make a move." Bill?
It's a possession.
There's a little box under your desk. If you'd bring that up, please. Take the possession out for us, and then read the card for us, please.
This is my conversation book. In it... I've written a list of topics that I refer to should I ever run out of things to talk about.
How do you, without seeming weird, consult the book in the middle of this foundering conversation? Like that.
Like that? You hardly noticed. Have you thought about draft-proofing your house recently?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Is that one of your subjects? To sort of enliven the conversation?
Is that genuinely in the book?
No, to be honest...
Let me see.
To be honest,
Give me the book.
well, this
Give me
bit
the
could be
book.
good.
Roll me the book.
This is a very special book to me.
We promise we'll take good care of the book. Right, let's have a look. OK. Home insulation tips is indeed the first thing. Interest rates. Very low, of
They
course.
may be going up.
Yeah, they may
later
be
this
going
year.
up, but not on this programme. Are the Cotswolds overrated? Are the Cotswolds overrated?
See? It's interesting,
It is
isn't it?
interesting. Rugby, 3 question marks after rugby.
Do you not know much about rugby? Is that why you were a bit worried about
I'm just not sure. Sometimes it doesn't really work as a topic.
So-
and I'm not sure how
Not with
well it
women.
would go with you, Catherine. talking
Quite a
about
few of those won't go very well with me, if I'm honest with you.
When
Seriously, when was the last time you thought about draft-proofing your...
Where do you stand? What do you call it? Is there a name like the governor? I'll just ask the governor. Something like that.
Oh, yeah. You call it the Euston-off. I'll just consult Euston-off. Rugby?
Let's write some unexpected ones in it, and he'll just be the last bit. Boobs!
So, Archbishop, what do you think about boobs? Oh, my God! I said boobs!
Right, David, come on.
Well, I don't think it's true.
I think it is true. I mean, look, you went to all the effort of doing it.
Well, someone did. But you think it's true and you think it's a lie. Is that right?
Yeah.
Decide.
I think it's a lie. My instinct is it's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
OK, Bill, truth or lie?
I'm immensely relieved to tell you that it is, in fact, a lie.
It's a lie. It's not Bill's conversation book that he refers to if he ever runs out of things to talk about. In fact, if Bill ever finds himself short of things to say, he just throws to Carol Kirkwood for a roundup of the weather. It's me. For 1 week, I appeared in a Dear Deirdre photo casebook in the Sun newspaper. Both teams are able to probe me. Although I'd be happiest if it was Lorraine.
Can I just clarify the Dear Deirdre is the sex thing where you have sex
You're in bed
problems and you're the photographs with the balloon coming out your mouth. And what are you doing? What's your relationship problem?
I was the husband.
What was the problem?
The wife was attracted to my friend.
And what face did you do?
I only realised at the very end.
Oh,
So
go on,
most of the time I was being happy or vacant.
How did you find out in the story about the that she fancied the...
I walked in on them. So I had to,
did you walk in?
So I had to be
Oh,
shocked.
did
Sorry.
they?
I did vacant, happy, shocked and sad.
So I do happy.
Do vacant.
Do
Shop.
the eyes
Do sad.
Sad.
Oh. Well, that's nasty. That looks pained.
Well, how would you feel? My best friend was in bed with my wife.
No, but I'd say something. No, it doesn't look like you're upset. It looks like you're trying to pass something uncomfortable.
Let's imagine for a moment that Lorraine was my wife. Oh. She is having a relationship with the better-looking half of Mitchell and Webb, OK?
Right.
But he's not here, so we're with David. Right? So the two of them, so get yourself in a position that might, you know...
Oh, we're having an affair, is
yes.
that the thing?
So we have to get closer.
I don't know how you do that.
Do it. I can sit on you.
Oh, all right.
Wow. I don't want to sketch you.
OK.
In this scenario, am I waiting my turn?
So I'm coming home. I'm about to give you shock. Truth or lie, Lee?
We can say lie, are we, Sue?
I think so.
Lie.
I think so.
I don't think I can argue
Lie.
with that. So
OK,
lie.
David?
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? OK, we'll say it's a lie.
You say it's a lie? Aha. It is, in fact, a lie. Well, that's all for now. Good night.